Unshackled Ambition. Author, Eddie L. Pitt. Chapter 1. Introduction. In the pages that follow, you will embark on a journey through the life of an individual whose story is not just a testament to personal resilience and ambition, but also a vivid tapestry of historical significance and profound human experience. Unshackled Ambition. Author, Eddie L. Pitt. This autobiography is more than a narrative. It's an invitation to walk alongside someone who emerged from the humblest of beginnings to carve a path marked by determination, success, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Born in a house in the first town in America, established by freed black slaves, the author's roots are deeply entwined with the struggles and triumphs of a community that fought for its place in history. Raised by his grandmother, he grew up with a legacy of resilience and the spirit of independence coursing through his veins. From these early experiences, a dream was born. Not just to rise above the circumstances of his childhood, but to become a leader, a boss who could influence change and inspire others. Throughout his life, the author has navigated the complexities of striving for professional enrichment in a world that often seemed stacked against him. His journey is a reflection of the broader civil rights struggle, echoing the voices of those who labored in fields like their ancestors before them, yet dared to dream of a different future. The recent passing of his brother, along with the deep sorrow stemming from the loss of his wife, mother-in-law, and sister-in-law, have marked significant and challenging moments in his life. Despite these profound losses, he has continued to move forward, exemplifying the true spirit of resilience and achievement. This autobiography is not just a recounting of events, but a beacon of encouragement. It serves as a reminder that our spirits can remain unbroken no matter the obstacles we face, the injustices that challenge us, or the losses we mourn. The author's life story is a powerful call to be encouraged to believe in the possibility of overcoming adversity, and to never lose sight of our dreams no matter how distant they may seem. As you turn these pages, may you find inspiration in the author's journey from poverty to prominence, from grief to unwavering determination. May his story remind you that success is not just about reaching a destination, but about the strength we find in ourselves and the legacy we build along the way. Welcome to a story of hope, resilience, and the unyielding power of the human spirit. Unshackled Dreams, the extraordinary life of a trailblazer, executive, from America's first established freed black community. I have always wanted to record my experiences growing up in Princeville, North Carolina. This small town has a rich and unique history. It was the first town in America to be founded by a group of freed slaves in 1865, and it was originally known as Freedom Hill. The founding of Princeville wasn't just about creating a place to live, it was about establishing a legacy of strength and unity that would be passed down through generations. The construction of Mount Zion Primitive Baptist Church in 1871 marked a cornerstone of his legacy. It became more than a place of worship. It was a sanctuary where individuals could gather, drawing strength from their faith and from each other. The church's enduring presence over a century later symbolizes the unwavering resolve of the Princeville community. It's a physical reminder of their commitment to stand together despite obstacles. Beyond the church's walls, the spirit of Princeville flourished. Education, community events, and mutual aid societies blossomed, each adding layers of depth to the town's social fabric. These efforts were not merely about survival. They were acts of bold ambition aiming to secure a prosperous future for every resident. Princeville's story is a powerful testament to what can be achieved when a community comes together bound by shared challenges and a common vision. The trials faced by the early residents, floods, poverty, and disease, could have defined them. Instead, they chose to forge a path of resilience, transforming adversity into a foundation upon which they built a town imbued with pride, culture, and an indomitable spirit. Today, Princeville stands as a symbol of triumph over hardship, and its history is a source of inspiration for current and future generations. It reminds us that it's possible to create something lasting and beautiful in the face of challenges, a testament to the enduring power of community and resilience. Between the years of 1885 and 1918, Princeville, North Carolina blossomed into a thriving community, becoming a beacon of success and growth as a predominantly black town. This period marked Princeville's golden era, showcasing what could be achieved through determination, unity, and hard work. The town was alive with energy and ambition, setting a prosperity and community development standard. However, this period of growth was not without its challenges. In 1898, the rise of white supremacy cast a shadow over Princeville's achievements, introducing obstacles that tested the resilience and spirit of its residents. Despite these difficulties, the town persevered, holding on to the progress and unity that defined its best years. The situation became even more challenging with the onset of the Great Depression in 1929. This economic downturn brought hardship and struggle to Princeville as it did to communities across the nation. Jobs became scarce, and many families faced financial difficulties, putting a strain on the town's prosperity. Following World War II, the landscape of opportunity began to change. The promise of better living conditions and employment in other towns and cities drew many residents away from Princeville. This migration contributed to the town's population decline and hindered further development as people sought new beginnings elsewhere, hoping to find improved prospects for themselves and their families. The story of Princeville during these years is one of resilience and pride. The town's early success as a thriving Black community remains a testament to the strength and determination of its residents. Through each challenge, from the rise of white supremacy to economic hardships, flooding, and changing social dynamics, Princeville has endured its legacy as a reminder of what can be achieved when a community stands together in the face of adversity. Princeville's journey through time has been marked by a relentless battle against nature's fury. The town has weathered the onslaught of major floods no fewer than 9 times since its incorporation, each episode testing the resolve of its inhabitants. Yet none of these calamities could prepare Princeville for the unprecedented devastation it would face when the waters of Hurricane Floyd surged once more, engulfing the town in a catastrophe that would mark its pages in history. During this tumultuous period, I was residing in Baltimore, far from the immediate danger, but close to the heart of the crisis through the presence of my mother, who lived now in Tarboro, the town adjacent to Princeville. The news of Hurricane Floyd's approach filled us with dread, binding us in a shared vigil of worry and hope. The deluge transformed the town into an aquatic wasteland, where the familiar sights of daily life were submerged under a relentless tide. For 10 agonizing days, the residents of Princeville bore witness to the slow retreat of the waters, a testament to the town's unnerving ordeal and its fight for survival against the elements. The aftermath revealed a community shattered but unbroken, as Princeville was officially declared a national disaster area. It was a call to arms that resonated across the nation, drawing attention from figures of prominence and influence. President Clinton, Jesse Jackson, and Al Sharpton heeded this call, descending upon the beleaguered town to offer moral support and solidarity. Amidst this outpouring of support, a notable contribution emerged from the singer Prince, whose generous donation illuminated the path to recovery and rebuilding. In the annals of Princeville's history, the miraculous absence of a single death during this catastrophe stands as a testament to the town's resilience and the continued presence of the Lord. This remarkable outcome amidst such overwhelming destruction underscored the communal spirit and unyielding determination to safeguard every life. The story of Princeville's recovery is one of undaunted spirit and communal resilience, rising from the floodwaters, guided by the light of solidarity and the unwavering support of allies both near and far. This chapter of calamity and rebirth will forever highlight the enduring strength of a community that, despite being defined by disasters, has always managed to overcome them. In the current climate after the COVID-19 pandemic and the racial uprisings prompted by the prejudiced rhetoric, I feel that my story will help others and may serve as a guide or source of comfort. I have struggled to find the time to share my experiences, but I believe that now is the right time to do so. I was born in 1958 in Princeville, North Carolina, in a wooden house across the railroad tracks in Princeville. My grandmother was a strict but loving woman who raised me and my brother. She was a devout Christian and instilled strong moral values in us from a young age. We spent a lot of time in church singing and praying. She would have us tagging along everywhere she went. She always stopped and talked to neighbors, and I mean talking for a long time. But back in that day, kids would never even act like you had a problem with how long it took. Running to the store to get her some ice cream and snuff along with whatever else she desired was the highlight of many days. My father, Lewis Pitt, passed away in New York before I even turned a year old. Growing up, I didn't know much about him. My mom, perhaps because it was too painful, rarely spoke of him during my early years. However, as I got older, she began to share more about his life. To my surprise, I learned that he was a musician and a vocalist with enough talent to have once opened for Sam Cooke. Isn't that incredible? This revelation shed light on my own unexplained draw towards music, especially my desire to learn an instrument. Though I never dedicated myself entirely to learning music, discovering my dad's musical background made me wonder if things might have been different if I had known about this passion earlier. Knowing that music ran in my veins, maybe I would have pursued it with more determination. Tragically, my mom revealed that my dad's life came to a shocking end. He was killed after being pushed out of a high-rise by a woman. It's a thought that haunts me. Such a violent end to a life. It makes me reflect on the fragility of our existence and the unpredictable nature of our paths through this world. Learning about my father's life and untimely death has been a journey of mixed emotions. It's brought me closer to a man I never had the chance to know, and it's sparked a curiosity about the musical talents I might have inherited from him. Despite the sadness surrounding his passing, discovering these pieces of his life has given me a deeper understanding of myself and the legacy I carry forward. My mother, Rosa L. Pitt, was drawn to an opportunity that promised a new beginning far beyond the familiar boundaries of Princeville. Responding to an advertisement, she was intrigued by the offer of employment as an in-home maid in the sprawling city of New York. This wasn't just a job opportunity. It was a lifeline to a future filled with possibilities. The advertisement promised not only to cover the cost of transportation to the city, but also to provide room and board. This significant incentive made the daunting leap seem feasible. Embracing this chance, my mother embarked on a challenging and transformative journey. The transition from the close-knit community of Princeville to the vast, bustling expanse of New York City was a culture shock. She found herself in a world far removed from the familiar comforts of home, navigating the complexities of life in a big city that was as intimidating as it was exhilarating. Despite the hardships, my mother maintained a solid connection with us. She became our lifeline back home, sending clothes, necessities, and pieces of her new world to us. Her visits home were joyous reunions where she filled our hearts with tales of the city, its people, and the vibrant life she was building there. She was our beacon of hope, demonstrating what resilience and determination could achieve. However, the path she chose was fraught with obstacles. Working as a domestic worker in someone else's home meant long hours and little personal space in a city where anonymity could feel isolating. The challenges of racial and economic disparity added layers of complexity to her daily life, testing her strength and resolve. Yet through it all, my mother's spirit remained unbroken. Her elegant strength and undeniable presence made us endlessly proud. Her story is a powerful reminder of the sacrifices made for the sake of family and the future. My mother's journey from Princeville to New York, propelled by an advertisement in Tarboro, was more than a geographical move. It was a leap of faith into a world unknown, a testament to her courage, and a legacy of perseverance and love that continues to inspire. Whenever she returned to Princeville, my mother often brought her sister, affectionately known as Foxy Ann, along with her. Foxy Ann, who also carved out a life for herself in New York, shared these special journeys back home. Ann's journey through life was nothing short of remarkable, a vivid tapestry woven with determination, passion, and an air for the exceptional. In her early days, she graced the role of a barmaid, but it wasn't long before her name sparkled in lights, a testament to her charisma and hard work. Ann's aspirations lifted her to great heights, quite literally, as she made her home in an exclusive high-rise in Rochester, a dream many yearn for, but few attain. Her heart found its match in the man she married, encapsulating the essence of true love and companionship from which many tales are spun. Not one to rest on her laurels, Ann channeled her entrepreneurial spirit into the beauty industry, eventually retiring as the proud owner of a beauty salon. This venture was more than a business. It was a place where beauty was celebrated and nurtured in all its forms. Whenever we had the privilege of visiting Ann, she enveloped us in the warmth of her generosity. Each visit was an occasion marked by the lavish gifts, jewelry, and special trinkets she delighted to share with us. These tokens of affection were cherished not for their material value but for the love and thoughtfulness they represented, a tangible connection to a woman whose spirit was as generous as it was indomitable. We adored Ann beyond words. Her memory remains a beacon of love and strength in our hearts. As we remember her, we do so with gratitude for the joy and beauty she brought into our lives. May her soul rest in peace, enveloped in the same love she so freely gave. Ann's legacy is a reminder of the impact one life can have, inspiring us to live fully, love deeply, and give generously. Together they were a sight to behold, clad in stylish jumpsuits and sporting impressive afros, and they exuded the glamour and confidence of movie stars stepping off the silver screen. As we strolled through the streets of Princeville, making our way downtown, they captured the attention of everyone we passed. Men couldn't help but turn their heads, completely captivated by their presence, while their friends looked on with a mix of pride and admiration. In those moments, my mother and Aunt Foxy Ann were more than just family returning home. They were the embodiment of success and aspiration, living proof of what was possible beyond the familiar boundaries of our town. Their visits became a celebration of their achievements and a source of inspiration for many. They represented a bridge between Princeville and the bustling life of New York City, bringing back stories of adventure and independence that fueled our dreams. To us and to their friends who gathered around, my mother and Aunt Foxy Ann were the ones who made it. a testament to the power of determination, style, and the enduring bond of family. My mom had two other sisters she loved very much. Aunt Cora, who sadly passed away years ago, and Aunt Mary. Aunt Mary and her husband, Uncle Willie, were like no one else I've ever known. They were jet-setters working high up in the government and lived in Washington, D.C. They were truly awesome, and there wasn't a single important moment in my life when they weren't there for me. Whether it was my graduation, my first sermon weddings, or any big event, Aunt Mary and Uncle Willie's love and support were always a big part of my life. Their presence and encouragement meant everything to me, and played a huge role in shaping who I am today. I have this vivid memory of Uncle Willie that I'll never forget. During one of his visits to Princeville, he took me for a ride in his new car. It was then that we had a real man talk. Remember, I grew up without my dad around, so there were a lot of things I didn't know or understand from a male perspective. Uncle Willie took the time to share his wisdom and insights with me, something no one had ever done before. That conversation was a turning point for me, and I'm incredibly grateful for it. Looking back, I realize how lucky I was to have Aunt Mary and Uncle Willie in my life. Their unwavering support and the lessons they taught me have stayed with me, guiding me through life's challenges. I'm filled with gratitude for having had such a fantastic role model, and I hope to pass on the same love and guidance they gave me to others in my life. Adding to the richness of my memories with Aunt Mary and Uncle Willie, their influence extended beyond just being present at major life events. They brought a sense of adventure and a broader perspective to my world, which was otherwise limited to the immediate surroundings of my hometown. Their stories from Washington, D.C., mingled with tales of their travels and experiences within the corridors of power, were not just entertaining, but eye-opening. They painted a picture of a world vast and full of possibilities, inspiring me to dream bigger and aim higher. Reflecting on Aunt Mary and Uncle Willie's impact on my life fills me with profound gratitude. They were more than just family. They were mentors, role models, and a source of endless support and love. Their belief in me and their contributions to my growth and development are treasures I hold dear, shaping not only the person I became, but also how I view the world and engage with others. Their legacy of love, wisdom, and generosity is something I strive to carry forward, hoping to inspire and uplift others just as they did for me. In Princeville, the heart and soul of the town were reflected in its community-owned businesses and governance. The town was a shining example of Black ownership and leadership, with even the police force being predominantly Black. Growing up in such an environment, I was enveloped in a sense of privilege, a feeling of safety and belonging that starkly contrasts with the apprehension I carry in the world today. Back then, the idea of being feared or targeted by those sworn to protect us was foreign. Instead, mutual respect and understanding wove our community's fabric. In my current reality, caution has become a constant companion. I navigate life with an acute awareness of how I present myself to the world. Speeding, drinking, and driving, or any action that might cast me in a dubious light, is avoided at all costs. Even the simple act of taking a driver's license photo is approached with care. I always wear a suit and tie, hoping that this small measure of respectability might afford me a semblance of safety or respect in the eyes of law enforcement. If ever stopped by the police, I make it a point to follow orders without hesitation, keenly aware of the potential consequences of any perceived non-compliance. Yet amidst these precautions, I fondly recall a time when interactions with the police were marked by community and camaraderie. I remember the joy of being allowed to ride the police horses, a gesture of goodwill that symbolized the trust and respect between the officers and the community. This was a time when Police Tim Jones, a familiar face in our town, knew my grandmother and held her in high esteem. His respect for her was a reflection of the larger relationship between the police and the community, a bond built on mutual respect, love, and admiration. Despite the economic hardships we faced, the wealth of our community lay in our unity and respect for one another. Our shared love and esteem transcended material lack, creating a rich tapestry of support and solidarity. This sense of community, where everyone knew and looked out for each other, was the true foundation of Princeville. It was a place where we were immensely rich in spirit and connection, despite being extremely poor in material terms. Life was difficult for many African Americans during the late 1950s and early 1960s. The houses in Princeville were run down, and there were few opportunities for employment. Despite these challenges, the community was tight-knit and supportive. Working in the fields to pick cotton, cucumbers, and prime tobacco was an arduous and demanding task, often carried out under harsh conditions that tested the limits of human endurance. We were exposed to extreme temperatures with the scorching sun overhead for long hours, leading to an environment that was not only physically draining, but also hazardous to our health. The relentless heat combined with the repetitive nature of the work, bending, stooping, and pulling for hours on end, made it a grueling experience. Despite the intensity of the labor involved, the compensation for such work was meager, colloquially referred to as peanut wages, highlighting the disproportionate effort-to-reward ratio. This stark disparity underscored the exploitative nature of the labor system in place where workers toiled in severe conditions for wages that were barely enough to sustain them, reflecting a grim aspect of agricultural labor practices. In Princeville, our freedom was complex, woven with threads of resilience, hardship, and the stark realities of poverty. Now, at the age of 66, I can look back and see just how much our lives were shaped by conditions that many today would find unimaginable. Reflecting on my childhood, it's clear we were living in a time that felt 10, 15 years removed from the rest of the world. Our home lacked the basic conveniences that most take for granted today. There was no electricity, no running water, and our bathroom facilities consisted of an outhouse located a short walk from our back door. The concept of an outhouse might conjure images of discomfort for many, and indeed it was far from ideal. The reality of using it, especially as it neared capacity, is a vivid memory. My brother James and I faced the unpleasant task of relocating it, digging a new hole as the old one filled a process that was as arduous as it was necessary. The stench of the old outhouse was a potent reminder of our harsh living conditions, yet it was a part of our daily lives that we accepted without question. Our existence was further marked by the work we did to survive. White farmers from the surrounding areas would arrive in Princeville at the break of dawn, herding us into the back of their trucks like cattle. We were then transported to fields where we spent long, grueling hours under the sun hands, moving tirelessly to pick cotton cucumbers, tobacco, and more. The parallels to the slave labor depicted in movies were stark and sobering, a haunting echo of our great-grandmother's past as a slave. This connection to a history of enforced labor and inhumane treatment cast a long shadow over the work we did, imbuing it with a sense of inherited struggle and endurance. Living in such poverty was fraught with dangers and difficulties that went beyond the immediate discomforts. The strenuous labor in the fields carried its own set of risks, from the physical toll it took on our bodies to the exposure to harmful substances like tobacco and pesticides. Yet through all this, the spirit of our community remained unbroken, driven by the resilience passed down from our ancestors. The stories of our great-grandmother, a slave, and the lives we led in Princeville are testaments to the strength and perseverance of a people who, despite being free in name, still bore the weight of a legacy of enslavement and inequality. Our experiences in those fields and the daily realities of poverty were not just about survival. They were a continuous thread connecting us to a past that, though painful, underscored our capacity to overcome and forge a path toward a better future for the generations that would follow. My big brother James was practically the superhero of our household. He always tackled the big jobs head-on, like chopping wood and igniting the fire on those frosty mornings, ensuring our little house stayed cozy and warm. Despite the chill outside inside, we were a bundle of warmth and energy, all of us huddled together in the same room, the only space we could afford to heat during the biting winter months. Yet within the confines of our modest home, my imagination and joy knew no bounds. We crafted our own toys and games with whatever materials we could find. Let me tell you about the awesome adventures my friends and I had when we were kids. It was like being in a movie, with every day bringing a new quest or challenge. First off, we had these cool pop pistols made from bamboo reeds. You wouldn't believe the noise they made, and they always worked better if you had cherries to shoot, but you could use a wad of paper as well. And our slingshots? They were awesome. We crafted them from rubber bands and branches we found lying around. They were perfect for our daring escapades. But that's not all. We turned old beat-up skates into skateboards. Yep, you heard that right. Those skateboards gave us the freedom to zoom around like superheroes on wheels. It was the best feeling ever. Our days were jam-packed with games that had us running around and laughing till our sides hurt. Ever played hide and seek? Imagine hiding so well that your friends can't find you and then jumping out to surprise them. And dodgeball was a blast, ducking and weaving to avoid getting hit by the ball. We also played Mother May Why, which is all about asking permission to move forward, and red light, green light, where you freeze when the leader says red light and run on green light. And don't get me started on marbles. Aiming and shooting those little glass balls was an art. We even made up our own mini sports leagues with basketball and football games right out in the lot by Mr. Ed's store. The competition was fierce, but the fun was even fiercer. We cheered, shouted, and celebrated every win and loss together. And the adventures didn't stop there. The great outdoors was our playground. We went on fishing trips trying to catch the biggest fish by hand and explored the woods pretending to be explorers discovering new lands. Our backyard was like a magical garden. We had all sorts of fruit trees and berry bushes, apples, pecans, grapes, walnuts, blackberries, raspberries, peaches, and pears. It was like having our own candy store, but way better because everything was fresh and we picked it ourselves. Looking back, it feels like we were living out the wisdom and knowledge of our ancestors, having the time of our lives with the simplest pleasures. Those days were full of adventure, laughter, and the sweet taste of nature's bounty. Our ancestors knew the importance of planting and the value of self-sufficiency. Thanks to their foresight, we enjoyed the fruits, quite literally, of their labor. It was a time when the connection to the land was not just about sustenance, but about joy, discovery, and the sweet taste of nature's bounty. Truly, those days were a celebration of life's simple pleasures, shared with every bite of nature's gifts. Looking back on those days, I can't help but smile at the richness of our experiences. Our modest home was a castle of dreams, where love, laughter, and the sheer joy of being together made every moment precious. It was a time of endless possibilities where every day was an adventure waiting to unfold, and every challenge was met with determination and the support of those around us. When I embarked on the journey of writing this book, the thought that my brother James Lockhart, affectionately known as Jack, would not be by my side to see it come to fruition was unimaginable. James A. Lockhart, born in 1954 and died in October 2023. Tragically, in October of 2023, we lost Jack in a sudden and devastating turn of events. Known for his robust health and strength, his passing came as a shock to us all. A simple misstep while descending stairs led to severe knee injuries, and despite undergoing successful surgery, a subsequent blood clot claimed his life shortly after he returned home. This ordeal has been an indescribable challenge for both my mother and me. Yet through our faith, we find the strength to navigate our grief. It is with a heavy heart, but also with great pride, that I dedicate this publication to my brother, who was more than just a sibling to me. He was my mentor, my protector, and in many ways a father figure. Losing someone you love is a pain that's hard to describe, but it's something many of us understand all too well. For me, it was about losing Jack, my brother. We were the trio, Jack, Rose, and I, inseparable from our childhood days into adulthood. Imagine a bond so strong with your sibling that you never had an argument. That was Jack and me. We did more than just get along. We were closer than anyone could imagine, sharing dreams and hopes of making it big beyond the confining limits of Princeville. Jack did make it. He started his own courier business within the banking system, carving out the success we'd always dreamed of. But life has its twists, and during the time Jack passed away, we were scattered across different states. Despite the distance, our connection never waned. Jack, Mom, and I would spend hours on the phone chatting 2 to 4 times a week. We made it a point to visit home at the same time, where we dive back into our childhood memories, playing basketball, shooting billiards, fishing, and catching up with old friends. Those moments were precious, a reminder of the unbreakable bond we shared. Now with Jack gone, there are moments when I catch myself wanting to call him, especially when something exciting happens, or when I'm facing another challenge. He was my go-to person for bouncing off ideas, always offering a positive perspective. Working in the funeral business doesn't make coping with his loss any easier. Sometimes the grief feels so overwhelming that I have to pause and take a moment, or I might just break down crying. But when I think about Jack's life and the kind of person he was, I'm reminded of all the goodness he brought into the world. He lived his life with so much joy, kindness, and love. Holding on to our memories and cherishing our time together is the least I can do. Anything less would feel selfish. So I choose to remember Jack for all the happiness he gave us, for the dreams we shared, and for the unbreakable bond that not even death can sever. Our memories are a testament to the love we shared, and in my heart, Jack will always be a part of me, guiding me forward just as he always did. I absolutely must shout out to my incredible hometown crew, the legends I've shared countless school tales about, my ride-or-die friends, Leon, Greg, David, aka Pig Ear, Elmo, and Greg. When I landed at Raleigh Airport, these amazing guys wouldn't let me lift a finger. They ensured I was scooped up without a hitch. In the days leading up to Jack's funeral, we were inseparable, reminiscing about the golden days, laughing and sharing stories that kept the shadows of my loss at bay. Their unwavering support and the warmth of our shared memories were my beacon during one of the toughest times. I'm beyond grateful for their brotherhood, laughter, and the unforgettable moments we've shared. They're more than friends. They're family. This book stands as a tribute to his enduring influence and the love he shared with us. Looking back, I can vividly recall the challenges my grandma faced to ensure we were well-fed, clothed, and had a roof over our heads. We were part of the welfare system, depending heavily on government food packages to get by. Grandma always appeared strong and unwavering despite her own difficulties, hiding her struggles to keep us moving forward. I wasn't a perfect child, but I tried to be good. One of the most vivid memories I have involves the welfare food program, especially the cheese. It was a staple in our diet, part of the assistance we received from the USDA, which they distributed downtown. This program was a lifeline for us, providing essential food items when times were tough. I remember one Christmas I received a wagon as a gift. At first, I was thrilled, imagining all the adventures I could have with it. However, I soon realized that the wagon had a more practical purpose. It was meant to haul the welfare food from the distribution center back to our home. This realization brought a mix of emotions. On the one hand, I was grateful for the assistance that helped us survive. On the other hand, there was a sense of shame associated with going to such a low place to collect our food. It was a harsh reminder of our financial struggles and the stigma attached to being on welfare. Despite these challenges, those experiences taught me valuable lessons about resilience, gratitude, and the importance of community support. My grandma's strength and the love within our home provided a foundation of hope and determination, qualities that have stayed with me throughout my life. As a young boy, my imagination often took me on grand adventures far beyond the confines of my immediate surroundings. I dreamed of traversing the globe, exploring diverse cultures, and meeting people from every corner of the earth. These fantasies starkly contrasted my reality, yet growing up I was blissfully unaware of the labels society might attach to my upbringing. The term ghetto never crossed my mind, nor did I grasp the full extent of poverty that framed my childhood. To me, Princeville was more than a place on a map. It was home filled with love and a community that I cherished deeply. Our family didn't just reside in any part of Princeville. We lived across the tracks, a phrase that symbolized a division within our own small town. This area was perceived as less desirable, yet to me it was simply where we lived, a place teeming with life and memories. It never occurred to me that the neighbors up the road, living in what I thought were luxury apartments, were actually in project housing. Compared to our modest, worn-down house, their residences seemed like castles. It was only with time that I understood the true nature of our home. Though ragged, it was ours. A stark realization came with adulthood that we had lost the right to this property. Without a will from my grandmom and facing overwhelming taxes, the home that held countless memories slipped through our fingers. Reflecting on these experiences, I recognize a richness in my upbringing that transcended material wealth. I was surrounded by a wealth of spirit and a sense of community that no amount of money could buy. Despite not realizing the socioeconomic barriers that existed, I was grateful for the roof over our heads and the family and friends who filled my life with joy and meaning. This is how the old property looks today. These early experiences shaped my outlook on life, teaching me the value of gratitude, the strength of community, and the importance of preserving our legacies for future generations. I remember my grandmom always telling me that no matter what happens in life, to always keep God first and to never give up on my dreams. She always told me that I could be whatever I wanted to be if I worked hard enough and never gave up. I am so grateful for the lessons I learned from my grandmom and for the memories I have of growing up in that old wooden house. It may have been small and run down, but it was home, and it was filled with love and laughter. I will always cherish the memories I have of my childhood and of my grandmom, and I will always be thankful for the lessons she taught me about life and about love. The foundation of love and spirituality that my grandmother provided is what got me through the tough times and has stayed with me throughout my life. I am grateful for the strong spiritual foundation she set for me, and without it, I don't think I would be here today to tell my story. I remember it as if it were just yesterday. Grandma decided to keep me home from school, instead opting for a day spent together at her favorite fishing spot. Fishing was more than just a hobby for her, it was a passion, and sharing this experience with me was one of her joys. I took on the role of the adventurer, digging up worms and bravely shooing away any snakes while she settled in with her trusty old cane fishing pole by the tranquil waters of the Tar River. That day was filled with life's simple pleasures, catching perch and catfish under the warm embrace of the sun. We brought our catch home, and together we cooked a delicious dinner that was enjoyed amidst laughter and lively conversation with Jack. As night fell, we went to bed hearts full from the day's adventures. But the tranquility of the night was broken by the early morning when I was startled awake by Grandma. She was experiencing some distress, a moment that deeply concerned me as a child who shared her bed and looked up to her as my pillar of strength. Grandma was a remarkable woman known for her unwavering faith and dedication to her community. Sundays and prayer meetings were sacred to her, and she was always ready to lend a helping hand to those in need. Her love for her grandsons knew no bounds, and she carried herself with a unique blend of sternness and warmth. With her bow-legged stance, long, beautiful hair, and a demeanor that commanded respect, she was a figure of admiration in our neighborhood. Never once did a curse word pass her lips, yet her straightforwardness in speaking the truth made her both popular and respected. Her life was a testament to the values she cherished: faith, family, and service to others. Through her actions, she taught me the importance of compassion, integrity, and the power of a strong community. Grandma was not just a family matriarch. She was a beacon of light in our neighborhood, her legacy leaving an indelible mark on all who were fortunate enough to know her. After all of the commotion of the ambulance and all the neighbors, it was determined that she had a major stroke and had become totally incapacitated. Within a mere 3 days of receiving the news, my mother, Rosa L. Pitt, had returned from New York to North Carolina, and she made the decision to stay for good. Today, she continues to call North Carolina home, a testament to the pull of family and roots that run deep. Meanwhile, my grandmother's final years unfolded quietly in a nursing home, where over time she slipped away from us, no longer recognizing the faces of those she loved. When I was a little kid, I had a feeling something wasn't right, and looking back, I was onto something. My grandmother had developed bed sores and other issues that nowadays could lead to serious legal action against a nursing home. Unfortunately, she didn't receive the best care in that facility. We were just kids, and my mom didn't know much about these things. Plus, back then, the law hadn't really started cracking down on nursing home abuse like it does today. It was a challenging situation, and it's something that stayed with me, reminding me of the importance of ensuring our loved ones get the care and respect they deserve. Despite this heartbreak, my mother made every effort to bring her home for visits, attempting to care for her within the warmth of the family environment. However, the challenges proved overwhelming. I have vivid memories of the lengths to which my mother went to provide comfort to my grandmother, even in the most intimate and difficult moments of care. It underscored the depth of our love and dedication to her. My grandmother's passing was a profound loss that left a mark on my heart. The details of the ceremony have faded from my memory, as if shielded from my young mind by a merciful God. Perhaps it was a way of protecting me, allowing me to remember her as she was, rather than the sorrow of her final farewell. This period of our lives was a testament to the strength of family bonds and the sacrifices we are willing to make for those we hold dear. It taught me about the resilience of love, the harsh realities of aging, and the importance of cherishing every moment we have with our loved ones. When my mom made the big decision to come back and settle down in North Carolina, it was like hitting the fast-forward button in our lives. Suddenly, everything started changing, and it was all for the better. We said goodbye to our old house, which felt too small and outdated, and hello to a brand new spacious apartment out in the county. This wasn't just any apartment. It was a major upgrade from what we were used to. Imagine walking into a place that has everything you've dreamed of: running water, that you don't have to think twice about, air conditioning that keeps the hot summer days at bay, and the best part, each of us getting our own rooms. It felt like we had entered a whole new world where comfort and convenience were right at our fingertips. This move wasn't just about changing our address. It was about stepping into a brighter future, filled with possibilities and the promise of a better life. It was a fresh start for our family, and we were ready to embrace it with open arms. The move to this new community, which we took with just a few belongings loaded on the back of a truck to Beasley Arms Apartments, a part of a budding subdivision in Tarboro, NC, marked a pivotal moment in our lives. The sense of pride and belonging we felt in this environment laid a solid foundation for our future. I believe I was around 11 years old when my grandmother passed away, a time when our family was still adjusting to the new surroundings. My sense of self and confidence began to blossom in this fresh environment. The status of living in such a significant and modern space in Beasley Arms Apartments contributed greatly to this newfound self-assurance. It was here in the neighboring town of Tarboro that I met my best friend in the whole world, Dion Knight. Our bond formed quickly and grew deep as we navigated our high school years side by side. Jack and I, along with Dayon and his brothers, created a tight-knit group sharing countless memories and experiences that further solidified our friendship. Today, that bond remains unbroken, as strong as it was during those formative years. Much like the move to the new apartment, our friendship has been a cornerstone in my life, providing a sense of stability, belonging, and brotherhood that has endured through the ups and downs of life. This transition period from the simplicity and challenges of our old house to the fresh start in Beasley Arms not only improved our living conditions, but also played a crucial role in shaping my identity, confidence, and the relationships that I treasure to this day. As we navigated our way through adolescence, Jack emerged as the envy of our group, always managing to have not just one, but a couple of cars at his disposal. In those days, having a car wasn't just about getting from point A to point B, it was a ticket to a whole new level of high school prestige. It propelled us into a realm of newfound freedoms and experiences, making us quite the figures of interest among our peers. This newfound mobility brought with it a host of privileges, especially when it came to catching the eye of the girls in school. Suddenly, we found ourselves basking in a level of popularity that was both exhilarating and bewildering. The cars became more than just vehicles. They were symbols of status and independence that seemed to open doors wherever we went. Looking back, the importance we placed on popularity and the attention we received because of those cars might seem trivial now. Yet in the midst of our teenage years, it felt significant, shaping our social lives and interactions in ways we could hardly have imagined otherwise. This period of our lives, marked by the freedom and adventures those cars afforded us, remains a vivid chapter in the story of our youth, a time when friendship, fun, and the pursuit of recognition were all intertwined in the journey towards finding our place in the world. During the vibrant disco era, our lives were filled with the electric pulse of nightlife. Night clubbing, juke joint hopping, and the sheer joy of yard parties, and when the little country streets filled with folks celebrating Juneteenth. These were the days of freedom and youthful exploration, amplified by the fact that Mom worked the second shift, leaving the pad to my brother and me each evening. Whether we were hosting pot parties or covertly sneaking girls in, we reveled in the independence and the mischief that came with it. My brother and I, partners in crime, grew incredibly close through these adventures, a bond that has only strengthened with time. In this whirlwind of adolescence, a significant change came with my brother James securing a job far removed from the cucumber fields of our past. This new job was a game changer, marking our ascent into a new realm of possibilities. James began investing in fashion designer attire and dedicating time to working out, embracing the era's style with eleganza suits and Flag Brothers shoes, those iconic tall-heeled shoes bursting with colors. We were on the rise, and we felt every bit of it, our spirits soaring with each new acquisition and experience. Amidst this backdrop of disco lights and newfound freedoms, we faced the comical challenge of erasing the evidence of our escapades before Mom returned home from her shift. The scramble to air out the smell of weed with windows swung wide open and incense burning more out of necessity than ambiance became a ritual. We became experts at restoring the house to its pre-party serenity, leaving no trace of the night's activities. These moments of frantic cleanup laughter, barely contained as we hustled to hide the night's evidence, added a layer of hilarity and camaraderie to our teenage years. Looking back, these weren't just antics. They were the shared experiences that defined our youth, filled with laughter, brotherhood, and the endless creativity of covering our tracks. As a high school student, I stepped into a world that now seems like a distant memory, vastly different from the landscape we navigate today. Back in those days, despite the inevitable squabbles and tiffs typical of teenage life, we had an uncanny ability to mend fences. It was quite extraordinary how swiftly we could move past our disagreements, sometimes in mere hours, or at most by the following day. We grasped the invaluable lesson of unity and camaraderie early on, recognizing that the joy of playing and learning together far outweighed the bitterness of clinging to disputes. However, as we transitioned into our junior high years, we encountered a seismic shift in our environment. Once a melting pot of diverse friendships, the school began to show signs of segregation. This new chapter presented us with unprecedented challenges. We were thrust into a setting where we were expected to coexist harmoniously and productively, despite our varied backgrounds and viewpoints. This transition was not merely about adjusting to heightened academic expectations. It was about maneuvering through a complex social terrain, striving to bridge divides and cultivating a spirit of unity and mutual respect among all students. But it wasn't long before we discovered a troubling disparity in how disciplinary actions were meted out. Record numbers of black students, including myself, were facing expulsions for incidents where their white counterparts received far less severe punishments, if any at all. This glaring injustice wasn't just a fleeting issue. It persisted into my senior years, becoming a pivotal battle in our quest for equality and fairness. Fueled by a sense of injustice and armed with the knowledge that silence would only perpetuate this cycle, we took a stand. Protesting in high school wasn't just about challenging the status quo. It was a declaration of our right to be treated equitably, a testament to our resilience and our refusal to be marginalized. Our activism was met with resistance, but it was a resistance we were prepared to face. By raising our voices, We ignited a conversation that extended beyond the school's walls, challenging deeply ingrained biases and advocating for systemic change. Our efforts were not in vain. Through our protests and unwavering determination, we began to see a shift. Slowly but surely, policies started to change, and the school administration took steps to address the disparities in disciplinary actions. This journey was a powerful reminder of the strength found in unity and the impact of standing up for what is right. Reflecting on those formative years, it's clear that our fight for justice was about more than just addressing disciplinary inequalities. It was about affirming our dignity, demanding respect, and carving out a space where future generations could learn and grow without the shadow of bias looming over them. Our high school protests were a defining moment, teaching us that even in the face of adversity, change is possible when we stand together. Back in the days when cell phones were a thing of science fiction, we found endless ways to fill our time with laughter, energy, and camaraderie. Our breaks in school and afternoons were often spent under the open sky, engaging in spirited rounds of outdoor games that brought us closer together. Horseshoes and basketball were among our top picks, drawing us into a friendly competition and sharing moments of joy. These games weren't just about winning. They were about the time spent with friends whose company we cherished, where hours would slip by unnoticed as we reveled in the sheer fun of play. Dayon, my best friend, was particularly skilled at horseshoes. Whenever he scored, we'd cheer, "Ring, ring, baby," a testament to his knack for the game. Unlike today, where a text message can summon a friend in seconds, our interactions require a more personal touch. We had to physically seek each other out, creating opportunities for face-to-face encounters and real-world adventures. This way of life fostered a sense of community and belonging that is becoming increasingly rare in today's digital age. Our experiences, enriched by direct interaction and genuine connections, are cherished memories that highlight a unique aspect of youth, one that many of today's generation might never fully understand or experience. Among the myriad activities that filled our days with excitement and learning, shop class held a special place in our hearts. It wasn't just another class on our schedule. It was a vibrant workshop where creativity met craftsmanship and friendships were forged amidst the sawdust and the hum of machinery. Under the guidance of our incredible shop teacher, B.C. Murphy, the classroom transformed into a space of endless possibilities. Mr. Murphy was more than just a teacher. He was a mentor and an advocate, passionately instilling in us the importance of respecting and valuing Black women. His lessons extended far beyond woodworking, touching the core of our values and shaping our perspectives on equality and respect. Woodworking projects became our canvas for expression, a way to channel our energy and curiosity into creating something tangible. The skills and techniques we learned were invaluable, but the bonds we built with our peers were even more precious. The camaraderie that blossomed in that workshop has stood the test of time, with many of those friendships enduring years beyond our high school days. Personally, I discovered a particular affinity for bricklaying within the array of skills we explored. Something about the precision and artistry of working with bricks captivated me, and I found myself excelling in it. It was as if I had an innate eye for aligning each brick perfectly, a talent that filled me with pride and satisfaction. This experience in shop class under Mr. Murphy's mentorship wasn't just an educational journey. It was a pivotal chapter in my life where I learned not only about the craft but also about the values of respect, creativity, and friendship. Oh boy, do I have a story for you. So everyone always says I have a pretty nice voice, right? Over the years, I've had the chance to sing in all sorts of places, which has been awesome. But let's rewind to my school days when I decided to enter this singing thing. Honestly, I can't even remember what it was officially called, but let's just say it was a big deal. Now, Al Green was my hero back then. I mean, that man's voice could make you feel things you didn't even know you could feel. And lucky me, I could hit all of his notes. Or so I thought. I was over the moon about showing off my skills with one of his songs in front of all my classmates. I practiced so much, you guys, that my voice decided to go on a vacation. Yep, just packed its bags and left without any notice. The night of the big event arrived, and there I was, stepping onto the stage, a bundle of nerves and excitement. But things went south real fast between the jitters and my voice deciding to play hide and seek. The music started, and I was ready to wow everyone with my Al Green magic. Except, well, it turned out to be more of an Al Green vanishing act. The folks handling the music kept turning it down, saying, "We can't hear him, turn it down a bit." And then the moment of truth, everyone realized that surprise, there was absolutely no sound coming out of my mouth. Talk about a memorable evening, but for all the wrong reasons. To this day, some of my friends still call me Al Green, and we just crack up about it. It's one of those stories that never gets old no matter how many times we tell it. So yeah, that's the tale of how I went from aspiring Al Green impersonator to the world's quietest singer in one unforgettable night. What an adventure in humility, right? Looking back on those days, it's clear that we had a lot of fun and created many lasting memories. We were able to enjoy each other's company and engage in activities that brought us closer together. While technology has certainly brought about many positive changes in our lives, there's something to be said about the simplicity and joy of those pre-cell phone days. During this pivotal era, the fight for civil rights wasn't just a chapter in a history book. It was the reality we lived every day. Our collective consciousness was deeply immersed in the struggle for equality and justice. I recall with vivid clarity the rallies and marches that became a significant part of our lives, standing shoulder to shoulder with notable activists like Golden Franks and Angela Davis. These were not merely events. They were powerful expressions of our determination to see change. We marched together, a unified force, all the way to the county courthouse, a symbolic and literal journey towards making our voices heard and our presence felt in the heart of our community. Our rallying point was the very church I've spoken of, Mount Zion, a place that served not just as a spiritual home, but as a beacon of hope and unity in our quest for justice. It was there that we gathered strength, found solace, and prepared to stand up for what was right despite the inherent challenges. While I carried a sense of pride in being part of such a monumental movement, the necessity of the struggle weighed heavily on me. The idea that we had to fight so hard for rights and freedoms that should have been ours by birthright was a source of frustration and sadness. By this time, I had learned more about history, and I realized that America was built on the hard work of my ancestors, and all they got in return were really tough lives. It made me wonder why we must ask for just a small share of what should already be ours. Then it crossed my mind that things could have been even worse. We could have been pushed away to a place all by ourselves with even less than what we have now. It just didn't seem fair at all. Yet through this adversity, there were glimmers of hope and success that kept us going. Throughout this period, we witnessed tangible progress, the breaking down of barriers, the passing of crucial civil rights legislation, and a slow but steady shift in societal attitudes towards equality. Though hard-won, these successes were a testament to the power of collective action and the enduring spirit of those who fought for a better tomorrow. Navigating the tumultuous times of the civil rights movement, I found a much-needed escape and joy in the world of sports. Excelling in shot put and discus, I carved a niche for myself on campus where my prowess in martial arts earned me the nickname Bruce Lee. These achievements in sports offered me a sense of accomplishment and belonging amidst the broader struggles of the era. However, my journey was sprinkled with its share of humorous pitfalls. For instance, there was an unforgettable incident with the fundraiser candy. Entrusted with the responsibility to sell candy for a school fundraiser, my temptation got the better of me, and I ended up consuming the entire stock. The aftermath involved my mother and her infinite patience covering the cost to ensure I could graduate, a story that to this day sweetens our family gatherings with laughter. Being an athlete also had its perks, such as getting to leave school early to travel to other towns for competitions. The thrill of representing our school, the camaraderie among teammates, and the anticipation of new challenges in unfamiliar places were exhilarating. Every time we set out, it was an adventure, a break from routine that filled us with excitement and pride. One of the highlights of my high school years was a karate exhibition I performed in the gymnasium with my friend Witchell Marcher by my side. He had been my mentor, teaching me martial arts moves and valuable lessons in discipline and focus. During the exhibition, after demonstrating our skills and breaking bricks, mine completely dry while rumors grew about Witchell's being moistened, a claim we both laughed off, I took to twirling nunchucks, adding a dramatic air to our performance. The gym echoed with applause and cheers, a moment of pure triumph and unity. Inspecting the bricks afterward, our friends Dion and Tagir joined in the jest, poking fun at the supposed moistening of Witchell's brick compared to mine. Despite the teasing, the fact remained. I had broken my bricks dry as they were proving my mettle and adding to my campus legend. Closing out the day with laughter and light-hearted accusations of cheating only added to the memory, a funny and cherished moment against the backdrop of competition and skill. It was these moments of joy, humor, and youthful exuberance that made the high school experience unforgettable, reminding us that even amidst challenges, there's always room for laughter and lightness. Reflecting on the rich and diverse experiences of my high school years, it is with a heavy heart that I observe the stark contrast between the past and the troubling realities faced by students in schools today. Among these concerns, the prevalence of bullying, and more alarmingly, the occurrence of school shootings represent a profound departure from the values and environment that characterized my own educational journey. The notion that individuals derive satisfaction from causing pain and suffering to their peers is both shocking and deeply distressing. During my time in high school, those of us who were fortunate enough to wield a certain level of respect and influence within our school community felt a strong responsibility to combat any instances of bullying actively. We recognized that inflicting harm on others was not only counterproductive, but fundamentally wrong. Standing up for those who were targeted and victimized was not merely a matter of principle, but a duty. This commitment was rooted in a firm belief in the importance of unity and mutual respect. Moreover, the emergence of school shootings as a recurring tragedy within our educational institutions is a stark and horrifying indicator of how far we have strayed from these ideals. The thought of such violence occurring within the supposed safety of school walls is a source of profound disgust and sorrow for me. It underscores a critical failure in our society to protect the innocent and nurture an environment where every student can learn and grow free from fear. This ethos of protectiveness, solidarity, and respect was not incidental, but a deliberate cultivation of the values instilled in us by mentors like B.C. Murphy. These figures in our lives emphasize the importance of dignity, respect, and the unwavering support of one another. The camaraderie and adventures that defined our teenage years were underpinned by these principles, forming the bedrock of our collective experience. It is a grave disservice to the legacy of such mentors and the ideals they championed to witness the erosion of these values in today's school culture. The challenges we face in addressing bullying and preventing school shootings demand not only immediate action, but a fundamental reassessment of the societal values we impart to our youth. It is imperative that we strive to recreate an educational environment where respect, unity, and safety are not just ideals, but realities for every student. What truly alarms me in today's world is the sight of young individuals who, after committing acts of violence that defy comprehension, still walk the streets freely as night falls. It's widely acknowledged that the shroud of night often emboldens criminal activities and those intent on mischief. Yet even more unsettling is the realization that these young offenders find refuge in their own homes, sheltered by families who turn a blind eye to their actions. Frustration grows when considering that these adolescents return home not just with the spoils of their exploits, be it new sneakers, gold jewelry, or a wad of cash handed over to their parents, but with a sense of impunity. Beyond the realm of a night shift, there's little to no good that comes from wandering the streets in the late hours, yet they enter their homes at all hours without a hint of inquiry from their guardians. Reflecting on my own upbringing, where returning home before the streetlights came on was an unspoken rule, the contrast is stark. A failure to adhere to this simple curfew would have brought swift and sure consequences. This discipline instilled in us a sense of responsibility and respect, virtues that seem to be eroding in the face of today's challenges. If we fail to guide our young ones to instill in them the difference between right and wrong within the sanctuary of our homes, then we leave them to learn these lessons from a system that is unforgiving, often leading to outcomes that are both harsh and irreversible. The essence of our efforts must focus on reining in our children while they're still moldable, teaching them the values of respect, hard work, and integrity. Lessons echoed in the classrooms of Mr. Murphy and on the fields and courts where camaraderie and fair play reigned supreme. Without this guidance, we risk abandoning them to a fate where the lessons come too late and the cost is far too high. As a young boy, I participated in fieldwork alongside other residents picking crops for white farmers. Although the work was physically demanding, the camaraderie among us made it bearable. But I knew I would never do anything like that again. In the summer of 1978, a pivotal chapter in my life unfolded. After graduating, I stood at a crossroads faced with decisions that would shape my future. I had two paths laid out before me: an apprenticeship in bricklaying and a scholarship to college. However, both options presented their own set of challenges and didn't align with what I felt was most crucial at the time: supporting my family financially. The thought of furthering my education was tempting, but it seemed like a luxury compared to the immediate needs at home. As for bricklaying, while I had an affinity for the craft, the harsh effects of lime on my hands were a deterrent I couldn't overlook. I entertained the idea of returning to school eventually, but for the moment, I needed a breather to reflect on my next steps. Thus, during that transformative summer, I found myself donning the uniform of a McDonald's employee. The job was a far cry from the dilemmas of bricklaying and academia. McDonald's saw potential in me, envisioning a future where I climbed the ranks to management. However, All I could feel was the weight of their expectations as they seemed intent on maximizing every ounce of work they could get from me. Compounding this was a sense of embarrassment over the uniform, a sentiment that only deepened when friends visited the store, prompting me to wish I could disappear. The challenges didn't end there. An unfortunate slip on a greasy kitchen floor added physical injury to my growing list of grievances. But the real deal-breaker came on my third day with the late shift's untold requirements. Unbeknownst to me, this shift extended into the early hours as it involved cleaning the grills until they were spotless. A task that clashed with my plans to be at the nightclub, a commitment I had made well in advance. Confronted with this unexpected demand and the cumulative weight of my previous concerns, I made a decisive choice. I walked away from McDonald's that night, leaving behind not just the job but also my unclaimed earnings. It was a bold move propelled by a desire for autonomy and the pursuit of a path that aligned more closely with my values and aspirations. This moment of defiance, though small in the grand scheme of things, marked the beginning of a journey toward finding my place in the world, guided by a deeper understanding of my priorities and the kind of life I wanted to build. The very next day, bright and early on Saturday morning, I dove into the classifieds with a heart full of hope. Ever since I was a kid, I had dreamed of leaving my small town behind and diving into the bustling life of the city. And guess what? That dream started to turn into reality when I landed a job as a traveling salesperson selling books and magazines door to door. My adventure kicked off when I was sent to Elizabeth, New Jersey. I checked into the Elizabeth Carteret Hotel, and that's where the magic began. There, I met my trainer, the one and only Eddie Pitts. Eddie wasn't just any trainer. He was the kind of person who made you believe you could sell ice to Eskimos. With Eddie by my side, I was ready to take on the world as a salesperson. Now imagine this: a country boy stepping into the big city for the very first time. The lights were brighter than anything I'd ever seen, and the buildings were like giants towering over everything. It was all so incredible, just like the scenes I'd watched on TV but never imagined I'd see in real life. From our hotel, we could even see the Twin Towers standing tall and proud in the distance. It was a sight to behold, a reminder of the dreams and ambitions that fill the city's air. That view from the hotel with the Twin Towers in the backdrop became a symbol of hope and possibility for me. It's a memory I hold dear, especially when I think about the tragic event that would later shake the world. My heart goes out to the families who suffered loss during that terrible time. God bless them. Starting my journey in Elizabeth, New Jersey was more than just a job opportunity. It was the beginning of a grand adventure. It was about a country boy stepping into the big wide world, eyes wide open, ready to embrace the excitement of the city. And let me tell you, I was buzzing with excitement, ready to soak in every moment of this incredible experience. I was assigned a trainer, and oddly enough, his name was Eddie Pitts. Not kidding. This is one of the things that led to me getting this job. When I stumbled upon the advertisement that seemed like the gateway to my next big adventure, I could hardly contain my excitement. Dialing the number listed, I rehearsed my introduction in my mind, aiming for the perfect blend of professionalism and enthusiasm. As the phone rang, I steadied my nerves, ready to make a memorable first impression. "Hi, this is Eddie Pitt, and I'm calling about your ad," I said, my voice steady and confident. There was a brief pause on the other end of the line, and then an incredulous response that took me completely by surprise. "You're kidding? Another Eddie Pitt?" The astonishment in their voice mirrored my own. For a moment, we were both caught in a web of disbelief. The odds of encountering someone with the exact same name in this context seemed astronomical. The conversation that followed was filled with a sense of wonder and amusement. They explained that another Eddie Pitt already worked there, a revelation that added an unexpected twist to my job inquiry. The coincidence was so remarkable that it naturally became the focal point of our interaction, transforming a routine job application call into an unforgettable exchange. This serendipitous encounter not only broke the ice but also set the tone for what promised to be an extraordinary journey. The fact that my name Twin was already part of the organization I aspired to join felt like a sign, a quirky nudge from the universe guiding me toward this opportunity. It was as if my name had somehow predestined me for this moment, creating an instant connection with the company and its people. As we moved past our initial amazement, the conversation shifted towards the more practical aspects of the job and how I might fit into the team. Yet the remarkable coincidence of our shared names lingered in the air, infusing the entire process with a sense of destiny and excitement. It was clear that this wasn't just any job application. It was the beginning of a unique story, one that started with an extraordinary coincidence that neither of us would soon forget. In the days that followed, I often reflected on that initial phone call and the sense of expansiveness it brought to my job search. It was a reminder of the unexpected twists life can take, and how sometimes the most mundane actions can lead to the most comprehensive and memorable experiences. After checking into the hotel, it was time to run for something to eat. Eddie's call came out of the blue, inviting me to try something called Euros, a term unfamiliar to me at the time. Yet intrigued and open to new experiences, I agreed. Little did I know this was the beginning of an educational journey unlike any other. Eddie was a whirlwind of energy striding through life with a purpose that was almost intimidating. His pace was a clear signal. He was on a mission, and lagging behind was not an option. As we hurried along, he shared a philosophy that would stick with me. Success walks on busy feet. This was my introduction to a world of relentless ambition and drive. The following morning, I found myself in a scenario that was both bewildering and slightly amusing. Picture this: a room bustling with approximately 20 sales professionals, each one more enthusiastic than the last, engaged in a ritual of yelling and singing songs about achieving their sales quotas. They referred to this high-energy routine as getting pumped up, and I must admit it was an experience to remember. My contribution to this symphony of ambition went something like, "My name is Eddie. I stay ready, I get the cash, and then I dash. Now that you know what I can do, I'm gonna let someone sock it to you." This spirited exchange would circle the room for an hour or more before we ventured out into the field. And yes, our exuberance wasn't always met with appreciation. In fact, our spirited morning rituals led to us being asked to leave more than a few hotels due to the disturbance. Looking back, it's hard not to chuckle at the memory of our well-intentioned, albeit slightly disruptive attempts to motivate one another. The very next minute, I found myself out in the field with Eddie, diving headfirst into the art of selling magazines. It was more than just a job. It was a crash course in personal development and human interaction. Eddie was not just teaching me to sell, he was shaping me into a professional. Tucking in my shirt tail and mastering the sales presentation were just the beginning. My real education was in human psychology, understanding the motivations and desires of those we met. Our journey took us from the bustling streets of New York to the sunny avenues of Florida and as far west as Texas. Each stop in the myriad of cities and towns along our route offered new lessons. We ventured into diverse communities, from dense urban projects to sprawling row homes, each visit adding layers to my understanding of human nature. These experiences taught me how to engage with people from all walks of life, celebrating the rich tapestry of nationalities that make up the American landscape. Dressing for success became a lesson in itself, as Eddie emphasized the importance of appearance not just for making a good impression, but as a reflection of self-respect and professionalism. Goal setting and achievement were daily themes, pushing me to set my sights high and work diligently towards reaching them. Perhaps the most significant lesson, however, was learning to love people genuinely. Through countless interactions, some challenging, others rewarding, I came to appreciate the beauty in every individual's story. This whirlwind adventure with Eddie was more than just a job. It was an intensive life course that shaped me in ways I could never have anticipated. It taught me discipline, empathy, and the value of hard work. It showed me the importance of connecting with others not just for the sake of sales, but for the genuine relationships that emerge from sincere interactions. As I reflect on those formative weeks, I realized they were not just about selling magazines. They were about discovering the world and my place within it. This chapter vividly captures the raw, unfiltered essence of my youth back when I was a traveling salesman. This wasn't just a job. It was my rite of passage, a journey through the real world that no classroom could ever replicate. With nothing but my pack used to sell books and magazines, I ventured into the unknown, eager to carve my path and make my mark. The life of a traveling salesman is far from glamorous. It's a grind filled with long days, endless roads, and doors slammed in your face. But amidst that grind, there was a sense of freedom and adventure that I'd never experienced before. Each new town was an opportunity, a challenge to test my mettle and adaptability. I quickly learned that success in sales was about more than just the pitch. It was about connecting with people, understanding their lives, and finding common ground. These interactions, as brief as they were, taught me invaluable lessons about human nature, resilience, and the art of persuasion. But let's not sugarcoat it. This chapter of my life had its fair share of grit. There were nights spent in cheap motels questioning my choices and counting my meager earnings. There were moments of doubt, loneliness, and the kind of exhaustion that seeps into your bones. Yet it was in these moments of vulnerability that I found my strength and determination. The wild oats I sowed during this time were not just about youthful exuberance. They were about testing my limits, making mistakes, and learning from them. It was a time of discovery, of pushing boundaries and sometimes crossing them. The freedom I had was exhilarating, but it also came with its own set of challenges and responsibilities. I won't romanticize it. There were tough lessons learned, risks taken, and consequences faced. But these experiences, as gritty as they were, shaped me. They taught me about perseverance, about the value of hard work, and about the importance of chasing your dreams no matter how far-fetched they may seem. Reflecting on this chapter of my life, I see it as a foundational period that molded me into the person I am today. The trials and triumphs of being a traveling salesman revealed to me the complexities of life and the depth of my own character. Our adventures took us to various towns and cities, each with its own story and character. To celebrate our hard work and successes, we had a tradition of coming together on Friday and Saturday nights. These evenings were our time to relax, unwind, and enjoy the fruits of our labor in a spirit of camaraderie and fun. Dressed to the nines in our finest suits and shiniest shoes, we would head out to the most lively spots in town, our excitement palpable. We always made sure to have a reservation at a popular club where we could all gather and kick off our night in style. Our entry was marked by a group dance, a ritual that brought us closer together and set the tone for an unforgettable evening. This was more than just a night out. It was a celebration of our teamwork achievements and the journey we shared. Among the places we frequented as a bonus was a unique spot in New Jersey known as Daffy Dan's. Dubbed the bargain outlet for millionaires, it stood out for its eclectic charm and intriguing reputation. It was here, amidst the buzz and laughter, that some of our most cherished memories were made. Get a load of this. One day I was selling magazines door to door, and I found myself in a special little place near Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. This place had about 7 trailers forming a circle with a driveway connecting them all. I knocked on a few doors where no one was home, and then went to the biggest trailer. An older man let me in, and I told him about the magazines. He decided to help me by buying a subscription to a horseplay magazine. That day, I was working alone. After visiting all the trailers, I was waiting by the road for my ride to pick me up. Then I saw a car drive into the trailer community. I thought maybe I could sell them a subscription too, so I waited. Suddenly, the door of the trailer where the man had bought the magazine flew open, and I heard a lot of yelling. They were really mad, telling me to give the money back and to leave their community. I said I would give the money back once my ride came back because I didn't have it with me. They were all shouting, and one person said they were going to get Boom Boom. I can't remember his real name. They were back with him in minutes, and he was very scary. He even pulled out a gun while his family, pulling him back, told him not to shoot me. I was really scared and didn't dare say anything about the money. Eventually, my pickup came and we hurried to leave. He told me that a group had tricked the entire community last year, which is why they were so upset with us. As we were leaving and getting near the bridge, cars were waiting for us and they threw stones at us. It was a scary moment, but it was also a lesson in keeping going even when things get tough. After all that happened, I got promoted. When I climbed the ladder into management within the magazine business, I discovered it was a whole different ballgame. Managing a sales team taught me a lot about maintaining harmony and keeping everyone motivated. It wasn't always easy, but it sure was an adventure. We had our own ways of making sure everyone stayed on track. For starters, we did bed checks to ensure everyone was where they needed to be. Then, there were the under-quota meetings. If your sales were lagging, we'd sit down and figure out how to get you back in the game. And yes, we had a pretty unique way of dealing with negativity. If someone with a gloomy outlook joined a group conversation, suddenly everyone would find a reason to scatter. It sounds harsh, but we believed in keeping the vibes positive. We even had a rule that if you consistently came back without any sales, you might find yourself without a ride one day. Imagine being from New York and suddenly finding yourself stranded in Florida. It was a tough love approach, but it drove home the point that success in sales was non-negotiable. Our travels took us from one hotel to another, some nice and some, well, not so much. But despite the challenges, the feeling of flying back home after a successful trip was unbeatable. I'd be soaring high, not just in the plane, but also with pride. My friends thought it was the coolest thing ever, especially since most of them had never flown before. Looking back, those days in the magazine business were filled with lessons, laughter, and a fair share of tough love. But above all, they taught me the value of hard work, positivity, and the thrill of chasing success. It was an unforgettable chapter in my life, one that shaped me in ways I never expected. My stint in the magazine business lasted 3 years, during which I met my first wife, Sandra, and fell deeply in love. However, due to my boss's unethical practices and frequent travel, I had to move on from the job. Once we were out of the business, I went to stay with my mom. Mind you, all we wanted to do was be together and have sex. Well, Mom was not having that all up in her house. So again, I'm looking for some work. With Sandra in mind and the sex, I found a job on a farm where they would provide living arrangements. I was to be a driver of tractors and perform other similar duties. Needless to say, I didn't last long there. On day one, I never saw a tractor but was told to milk the cows, although they had a sophisticated operation with milk being sucked into the ceiling. It was not what he had explained. By day 3, I was baling hay. The sad part about it was I had fun. I was tossing that hay like shooting basketballs and thought it was so cool. When I finished, I was going to my trailer to be with Sandra, and we were going to have more sex. Oh, come on, you know how those hormones were ramped up in our youth. Not a lot of other stuff mattered. Well, the next morning I could not move. I was sore all over and it was bad. When they came to get me, I told them I wasn't feeling well. Sandra and I talked about what to do next and called her dad, who offered me a job as a construction worker. We decided to go to Baltimore, so I went to the big house and told the farmer's wife about our plans. She warned me that the farmer wouldn't be happy about the food and living arrangements he provided. I dressed in my fancy salesman clothes, went to the barn, and explained to the farmer that the work was too strenuous. He became angry, so I backed up and acted like I had a gun under my jacket, causing the mostly all-black workers to take cover. The farmer was intimidated and agreed to drive us to the bus station the next morning. He was afraid of me and almost crashed the truck on the way. Baltimore holds a special place in my heart, as the memories of the time I spent there with my family and friends will always stay with me. My future in-laws were truly remarkable people, and meeting them was a pleasure. Doris, my fiance's mother, had a soft spot for me because she knew how much I loved her daughter. Zach, my fiance's father, was an amazing person, and the first father figure I truly respected. When we first planned on moving to Baltimore to live with Sandra's family, I was pretty nervous about a lot of things, especially finding a job. My father-in-law, Zach, who worked as a construction foreman, had mentioned he could help me get a job in construction. That sounded like a solid plan at first. But after I arrived and we all sat down for a chat, Zach took one look at me and said, "You ain't no construction worker." At first, I didn't know how to take that. Was it a bad thing? But then he followed up with something that really took me by surprise. He told me to take my time and find something that I really wanted to do. "No worries," he said. You can't imagine how much of a relief that was. It was like he lifted a huge weight off my shoulders. Zach wasn't just looking out for me in the short term. He wanted me to be happy and fulfilled in the long run. That kind of support and understanding from someone I was just getting to know meant the world to me. It made me feel welcomed and valued, not just as a future son-in-law, but as a person with my own dreams and goals. My own father had passed away when I was just a year old in an accident, so Zach's presence in my life was especially meaningful. During our unforgettable stint in Baltimore, Sandra and I experienced some truly golden moments that we'll cherish forever. Sandra, my vibrant fiancée, came from a lively family with 2 sisters and a brother, which meant their house was always brimming with energy and warmth. It was a place where laughter echoed off the walls and where moments of joy were a regular occurrence. Our weekends were a special highlight, with double-deck pinochle becoming more than just a game. It was our ritual. The excitement would kick off on Friday evening as anticipation for the weekend's activities began to bubble. Friends and family would start gathering, bringing with them not just decks of cards, but an infectious enthusiasm that filled the house. The games were never about winning money. Instead, they were about the joy of spending time together, sharing stories, and creating memories. With an abundance of food and drink, the atmosphere was always one of sheer delight. And oh, the food! Being in Baltimore added an extra layer of magic to our gatherings. The city is renowned for its MD blue crabs, a local delicacy that we indulged in whenever we had the chance. The succulent seafood that Baltimore had to offer became a staple at our weekend gatherings. There was something special about cracking open those freshly steamed crabs seasoned to perfection that brought everyone closer. The seafood feasts, accompanied by hearty laughs and the clinking of glasses, made our time in Baltimore truly memorable. The weekends would fly by, with pinochle games stretching from the early hours of Friday evening until late into Sunday night. It was a time where clocks seemed irrelevant, and the only thing that mattered was the joy of being together. The games, laughter, and shared meals under the roof of that bustling house in Edmondson Village forged bonds as strong as the steel in the city's famous shipyards. In essence, our time in Baltimore was more than just a series of weekends. It was a chapter in our lives filled with warmth, camaraderie, and the simple pleasures of good company and great food. Moreover, our Baltimore adventure was enriched by a myriad of other experiences that made our stay unforgettable. The cabarets with their dazzling performances and vibrant music offered us a glimpse into the city's lively arts scene. These nights out were filled with laughter and awe as we marveled at the talent and creativity on display. It was in these dimly lit venues, surrounded by the energy of live performances, that some of our most unforgettable evenings were spent. Our adventures extended beyond the city limits through exhilarating road trips that took us to picturesque landscapes and hidden gems around Maryland. These journeys were spontaneous, driven by a desire to explore and discover. With Sandra and her siblings by my side, each trip was a story in itself, filled with sing-alongs, pit stops at quaint diners, and the joy of witnessing new sights together. These road trips often led us to serene parks and beautiful beaches where days were spent basking in the sun, playing games, and enjoying picnics. The tranquility of nature combined with the laughter and chatter of good company made these outings truly special. Baltimore, with its blend of urban charm and natural beauty, served as the perfect backdrop for these adventures. The days spent lounging in parks under the shade of sprawling trees or walking along the beaches with the sand between our toes are etched in my memory. Each moment, whether it was the thrill of discovering a new place or simply enjoying the peace of the great outdoors, added depth to our experience of the city. In retrospect, Baltimore was more than just a place. It was a chapter of my life marked by joy, discovery, and the warmth of family. The experiences we shared, from the lively game nights and delicious seafood feasts to the captivating cabarets and scenic road trips, have become anchors in my mind. They are reminders of a time when every day was an adventure, and every moment spent with Sandra and her family was a treasure. The love, warmth, and laughter we shared in Baltimore are gifts that I will forever hold dear, a testament to the city's lasting impact on my heart. In our early days together, we lived with her parents, and it wasn't long before we got married. Right after our wedding, I found myself juggling 3 different jobs just to make ends meet. My first job was at Montgomery Ward's, where I worked the first shift. After finishing there, I would move on to my second job, delivering oil part-time. Then, to round off my long days, I worked as a security guard during the midnight shift. Despite all this hard work, I was still making less money than I was used to when selling magazines. Working at Montgomery Ward's was quite the adventure. I was stationed in the bargain center, a place known for its scratch and dent items. This section was like a treasure hunt for shoppers because finding prices or even seeing some of the merchandise wasn't straightforward. Customers often had to embark on a long search and rescue mission just to discover what they were looking for. This part of the job was both challenging and interesting, as I helped people find the hidden gems and their prices among the less than perfect items. This chapter of my life working these 3 jobs was a test of endurance and dedication. It taught me the value of hard work and determination. Despite the long hours and the struggle to replace the income I had become accustomed to, this experience was an important part of our journey. It was a time of growth, learning, and laying the foundation for our future together. After juggling 3 jobs for a while, I started feeling pretty worn out, but still full of determination. I had a big idea to make things better, not just for me, but for the bargain center at Montgomery Ward's where I worked. So I gathered up all my courage and went to have a chat with the store manager about how we could turn the bargain center into a super successful spot. My big plan was to take charge of making sure everything in the bargain center was clearly marked and easy for customers to find and see. I suggested working on commission, which meant I'd earn money based on how much I sold. The store manager thought it was a fantastic idea and agreed. From then on, my mornings were all about unloading trucks filled with cool stuff like washers, dryers, refrigerators, and stereos. These items were a bit scratched and dented, but still amazing deals. After unloading, I'd quickly freshen up, put my tie back on, and dash to the public announcement system. I'd announce, "Good morning, shoppers. Welcome to Montgomery Ward's on Monroe Street, your one-stop shopping store. Swing by our bargain center for incredible discounts on scratch and dent merchandise that just arrived." Then I'd hurry back and get ready to meet the customers. My idea worked so well that in just 1 year I made a lot of money. The department became so busy that they had to add 2 more salespeople to help out. It was clear I had made a big impact, and it was time for a new adventure. This experience taught me a lot about hard work, innovation, and the power of a good idea. As I navigated through the bustling energy of Montgomery Ward's, transforming the bargain center into a thriving hub of deals and excitement, a new opportunity began to shimmer on the horizon. My success at Ward's was fulfilling, but I yearned for a challenge that would push me to new heights. That's when the world of insurance beckoned, promising a blend of stability and the chance to make a significant impact. Yet transitioning from the retail rush to the nuanced arena of insurance was no small leap. It was a journey that demanded dedication, a sharp mind, and a willingness to dive deep into the complexities of a new industry. Embarking on this new path required me to immerse myself in study and prepare for the rigorous licensing process. The world of insurance with its intricate policies and regulations was a far cry from the tangible products and straightforward sales strategies I was accustomed to at Ward's. I found myself surrounded by thick textbooks, each page a stepping stone towards understanding the vast landscape of insurance. The nights I once spent orchestrating sales in the bargain center were now dedicated to mastering terms like premiums, deductibles, and liability. The licensing exams loomed large, a formidable barrier standing between me and my new career. These weren't just tests. They were the gatekeepers to a profession that held the promise of not just financial rewards, but the opportunity to provide security and peace of mind to individuals and families. The pressure was immense, but so was my determination. Every moment of study, every fact memorized brought me closer to my goal. As I delved deeper into the world of insurance, I began to appreciate the profound responsibility that came with the role. Insurance wasn't just about policies and premiums. It was about trust, about being there for people during their most challenging times. This realization fueled my dedication, transforming the daunting task of licensure into a mission to serve others. Finally, the day arrived when all the hard work paid off. Passing the licensing exam wasn't just a personal achievement. It was the key that unlocked the door to a new chapter. The transition from the tangible, high-energy world of retail to the strategic, impactful realm of insurance was complete. I was ready to leave behind the sales floor for a career where success was measured not just in sales, but in the lives protected and supported. This transition marked a significant evolution in my career, from the fast-paced world of Montgomery Ward's to the sophisticated and meaningful realm of insurance. It was a journey of growth, learning, and ultimately of finding a new way to make a difference in the lives of others. This new gig was like stepping into a whole new world. Not only was I enjoying these extravagant $500 per plate dinners, but I also got the chance to rub elbows with the movers and shakers of Baltimore. It was like being a VIP at the most exclusive parties in town. Every event was an opportunity to chat with influential people, share laughs, and make connections that felt right out of a high-powered business movie. And it wasn't just the dinners and networking that were thrilling. Being part of an insurance company that carried the union label opened up doors to events that were usually reserved for the city's elite. From grand galas to intimate gatherings with political bigwigs, I found myself in the heart of Baltimore's bustling social scene. It was a whirlwind of excitement, with each day bringing a new adventure and the chance to meet fascinating people who were shaping the future of the city. This job wasn't just a step up in my career. It was a leap into a world of luxury and influence I had never imagined being part of. It was an unforgettable chapter in my life, filled with moments that I'll always treasure. The best part was the sense of control and ownership I felt in my role, which made me feel like the boss. But as fate would have it, the industry underwent a major transformation that left my insurance career on the sidelines. This turn of events, while initially disheartening, served as a powerful reminder of the importance of maintaining a positive attitude in the face of change. It taught me that adaptability and resilience are crucial qualities for navigating life's unpredictable currents. Embracing this mindset not only helped me to overcome the challenges presented by the shifting landscape of my profession, but also opened new doors to opportunities I had never considered before. This experience underscored the lesson that a positive attitude can transform obstacles into stepping stones towards growth and success. It was 1986, and my life as a life insurance agent took a dark turn due to a new trend: universal life insurance. In no time, we were peddling this product with little to no training and making grandiose promises of millions of dollars to prospective clients. We used projected interest rates that were out of this world, such as a jaw-dropping 29%. But the reality was far different from our tall tales. Clients would not only receive a fraction of the projected money, but they possibly would also have no insurance in their later years. When my first couple of policies came in, I reviewed them, and what I saw almost knocked me off my feet. The guarantees were pathetically low, and the projections were sky high. It was then that I realized the nature of the product we were selling led to misunderstandings. I immediately went back to the families and begged for their forgiveness, realizing the grave mistake I had made. Completely disenchanted, I began to look around for a change in career. While trying to figure things out, a friend of mine who drove a cab in Baltimore said he could bring home from $500–700 weekly, much to my surprise. So I ran down to the cab stand and took a cab out. He was telling the truth. I was able to make a pretty good living driving that cab. There are countless stories I could share about my time on the road, from the heartwarming encounters with kind passengers to the heart-stopping moments of danger and fear. But what really stands out to me is the sense of pride and accomplishment I felt when I was able to overcome those challenges and succeed in this tough and competitive industry. Through hard work and dedication, I was able to gain favor with the dispatcher and earn high-priority runs such as railroad and school runs, which paid considerably more than the typical fare. This allowed me for a period to support my family and seek a more stable and secure future for myself. Looking back on my year as a cab driver, I feel a deep sense of gratitude for the lessons I learned and the experiences I had. And while I've since moved on to other opportunities, I'll always remember the hard work and determination that helped me succeed in this demanding and unpredictable field. Things being as they were in Baltimore with crime and all came to a head during the Christmas holiday when they started robbing and killing cab drivers, and my wife could no longer rest with me taking what she considered a major risk. One day, while zipping through the streets of Baltimore in my cab, I picked up a passenger who seemed a bit odd from the get-go. Dressed in a long, tattered coat despite the warm weather, with a wide-brimmed hat pulled low over their eyes, this passenger slid into the back seat and muttered an address that led to one of the city's more secluded areas. My heart raced a bit faster. Stories of cab drivers encountering all sorts of trouble flashed through my mind. As we drove, the passenger began to act even stranger. They kept shifting in their seat, muttering under their breath, and every so often they'd lean forward only to sit back again suddenly. My imagination went wild. Was I transporting a criminal on the run? A spy exchanging secret messages? The tension was almost too much to bear. Then, things took a turn for the outright bizarre. The passenger pulled out a small mysterious box from their coat, peeking inside it, and whispering to it, as if it contained something alive. At this point, I was preparing myself for anything. Was it a dangerous animal? A stolen artifact? My grip on the steering wheel tightened, and I began to plan my escape route should things go south. Finally, we arrived at the destination, a nondescript building in a quiet part of town. The passenger, still muttering to their mysterious box, paid the fare and started to get out. My curiosity got the better of my fear, and I couldn't help but ask, "What's in the box?" With a sheepish grin, the passenger opened the box to reveal a collection of rare butterflies which they were taking to a local nature reserve. They apologized for being so secretive, explaining that they were just nervous about transporting such delicate creatures. I burst out laughing, relief washing over me. What I had imagined to be a scenario straight out of a thriller movie turned out to be a harmless adventure with a nature enthusiast. It was a moment I'd never forget. A perfect example of how things aren't always as they seem, and how a seemingly terrifying situation can turn out to be laughably innocuous. I began to search the classifieds, trying to determine what I could do next, and came across an ad for cemetery sales that paid a training salary plus commission. Since this was close to Christmas, I thought, why not? My wife Sandra and I laughed because, like many, I was a little leery of cemeteries. Nonetheless, I went in and interviewed with Clark Knuckles at Loudon Park Cemetery in Baltimore. I will forever be grateful for Clark Knuckles and what he did for my career. I must say that my wife Sandra was an exceptional human being. Her kind and warm demeanor, humble spirit, and radiant beauty were all traits that drew me to her. We were truly soulmates, embarking on every adventure together. Trips, vacations, you name it. We were the couple everyone aspired to emulate, admired not only for our deep affection for each other, but also for the joy and beauty we brought into each room. Sandra's presence was captivating, and together we shared a bond that was unmistakably profound and full of love. As a couple, we openly showed our love for one another, and I know that this sometimes irritated some folks. But we didn't care because we were just so in love. Unfortunately, I had to endure the unthinkable when I lost Sandra to breast cancer. Witnessing all the pain and suffering she went through was a truly traumatic experience, and the void left by her absence is immeasurable. Losing her was the saddest day of my life, and I'm still struggling to come to terms with it. Despite my grief, I know that Sandra would want me to keep going, to keep living my life to the fullest, and to cherish the memories we created together. She was not just my wife, but my best friend, my travel companion, and the love of my life. We did everything together, and those shared experiences are treasures I will hold close forever. Sandra will always hold a special place in my heart, and I will always be grateful for the time we had together, for the love we shared, and for the beautiful life we built side by side. When Sandra was diagnosed with breast cancer, we found ourselves in Denver, Colorado, a place of new beginnings and career advancements for me. Yet facing the daunting battle ahead, I instinctively knew that being closer to family on the East Coast would provide the support and strength we needed. Upon expressing this to my superior, a meeting was convened in an effort to persuade me to stay, highlighting the rare opportunities available to people of color in my position. Although the remark was jarring, it did not deter me. With approval, I reached out to the East Coast executive team and was met with several enticing offers. One vice president from Pennsylvania stood out by simply inquiring if my superior would welcome me back should I decide to return. The affirmative response triggered my transfer to Philadelphia, where I took on operations at Westminster Cemetery in Bala Cynwyd, complete with a full moving package. As Sandra's health continued to decline, Dayon visited, and during this period I met his sister who lived in Philly and her daughter Latrina Smoody. With Sandra paralyzed from the chest down, I took on all her care. Latrina offered help, a gesture I didn't fully comprehend amidst the turmoil. Eventually we moved back to Baltimore, seeking the best care for Sandra and support from her family. Diagnosed as terminal, we transformed her parents' dining room into a place for farewells, a heart-rending chapter of our lives. Sandra's passing marked a profound shift in my world. Feeling utterly alone as I left the mausoleum, I returned to Philadelphia, resuming work amidst colleagues who admired my strength, unaware of the internal storm. In a whirlwind of grief, I reconnected with Latrina, inviting her over one evening. The relationship quickly revealed Latrina's instability, leading to its swift conclusion. However, she later claimed to be pregnant, igniting a series of dramatic and dangerous events, from threats against my new wife to property damage and public confrontations. Amidst this chaos, a daughter was born who would later identify as my son, now living in England. A twist in life's narrative I could never have predicted. Throughout my sermons, I had preached traditional values, never imagining my own child would journey through a transgender transition. This revelation was a profound lesson in love, acceptance, and the unpredictable nature of life. Despite the trials, my love for my son remains unwavering, a testament to the enduring strength of familial bonds through life's most unexpected turns. This chapter of my life, rich with trials and transformations, has been a testament to the power of resilience, the depth of unconditional love, and the capacity for personal growth in the face of unforeseen challenges. My journey with Latrina, fraught with turmoil and danger, was a stark departure from the life I had envisioned. The experience pushed me to my limits, testing my resolve and forcing me to navigate a labyrinth of legal, emotional, and personal challenges that seemed insurmountable at the time. Yet, it was these very trials that sharpened my understanding of patience, forgiveness, and the complex tapestry of human emotions. The revelation about my child's identity journey brought me face to face with my own preconceptions and biases. It challenged me to look beyond the sermon and to see the individual, my child, for who they truly are, a person deserving of love, understanding, and acceptance. This period of transformation was not just about my child's transition, but also about my own. It was a journey from ignorance to enlightenment, from rejection to embrace. It taught me that love is not conditional upon adherence to societal norms, but is a boundless force that transcends our expectations and definitions. Today, as I reflect on these tumultuous years, I see them not as a series of unfortunate events, but as crucial chapters in the story of my life. They have enriched my perspective, deepened my empathy, and strengthened my faith in ways I could never have imagined. My relationship with my son, living his truth across the ocean in England, is a source of immense pride and joy. Our bond, tested by fire, has emerged stronger, a beacon of hope and a reminder of the redemptive power of love. In sharing this story, my hope is to offer solace to those navigating their own storms, to remind them that they are not alone, and to encourage them to hold fast to love as their compass. Life's journey is unpredictable, filled with twists and turns, highs and lows. Yet it is through navigating these that we find our true strength, learn the depth of our love, and discover the resilience of the human spirit. Let this story be a testament to the beauty that can emerge from the ashes of hardship, a call to embrace life's complexity with an open heart and an unwavering faith in the power of love to heal and transform. In this journey of healing and rediscovery, I have been blessed with the love of my new wife through a few tumultuous marriages, Kimberly Cooper Pitt, for more than 15 years now. It's a testament to the resilience of the human heart and the capacity for renewal that life affords us. Sandra, with her ever-generous spirit and profound love, would undoubtedly be overjoyed to know that I have found someone as remarkable as Kimberly. Sandra always wanted nothing but the best for me, as I did for her, and in Kimberly I have found a partner who embodies the love, care, and joy that Sandra wished for me. Kimberly is beautiful, fun, loving, and caring, bringing an immense amount of joy into my life. Her presence has been a beacon of light guiding me through the shadows of my grief and into a place of happiness and love once again. I cherish Kimberly deeply, not just for the joy she brings into my life, but for the love she has for me, which mirrors the love Sandra had for me. It's a beautiful, full-circle moment that speaks volumes of the capacity for love and happiness after loss. I love Kimberly with all my heart. She has been my rock, my joy, and my companion through the seasons of life. Our journey together has been one of mutual respect, deep affection, and endless adventures. Sandra's wish for my happiness has been fulfilled in my life with Kimberly, and for that I am eternally grateful. Together, Kimberly and I honor the memory of Sandra not just in words, but in the love we share every day. In the years following the profound loss of Sandra, my life took a new direction when I remarried. My heart was captured by Militia Bell, an apostle whose unwavering love for the Lord was palpable and inspiring. Her conviction that all things were possible through the power of God deeply resonated with me, leading me to strengthen my own faith. Motivated by this spiritual awakening, I delved into religious studies, eventually becoming a minister. When I got the call to ministry, I had just started singing with the Christianaires as a spiritual vocalist, and I was super pumped. I've been in singing groups before, but none as prestigious as this one. Most of the members were older, so I ended up doing a lot of the heavy lifting when we set up for our shows. It made me think maybe it was time for a change to save myself from getting worn out. This journey of faith culminated in the founding of Christ Disciples Ministry in Baltimore, Maryland, a community where we sought to serve and uplift through the teachings of Christ. Our congregation found a home in the Primrose, a senior complex where every service was an act of setting up, a physical and spiritual preparation. Stepping into the role of a minister was a moment that really made me stop and think deeply about my life and my faith. Ever since I was a kid, my grandma had taught us that the pulpit was a sacred place. She said we should never go behind it without understanding its significance. So when I found myself called to ministry, I didn't take it lightly at all. I knew it was a huge responsibility. Starting every Friday night, I would dive into my studies preparing for my sermon on Sunday. During those moments, nothing else mattered. My whole focus was on delivering a message that could make a difference in someone's life. I wasn't just playing church. I truly believed that something good, something meaningful could happen for the people sitting in front of me in the congregation. And you know what? That belief started to spread. The congregation began to come to services expecting something good to happen. And things did happen. People were healed from their illnesses, others experienced a change of heart, and many started changing for the better. It reminded me of a quote by Napoleon Hill, "Whatever your mind can conceive and believe it can achieve." This became a guiding principle for us. This important lesson I've learned is about the power of faith and community. When we come together expecting good things and supporting each other, incredible changes can happen. It's not just about believing in ourselves, but also in something greater than us. In our services, as we witnessed healing transformations and positive changes, it reinforced the idea that faith and hope are powerful forces. Seeing the impact of our collective faith on the congregation taught me that we're not meant to go through life alone trying to handle everything by our own efforts. Instead, it's about leaning on each other and on our faith to get through the tough times and celebrate the good ones. This sense of community and shared belief can move mountains. Moreover, my experience in ministry showed me the importance of preparation and dedication. Spending those hours every weekend studying for my sermon wasn't just about fulfilling a duty. It was about connecting deeply with the message I wanted to share. It was my way of showing respect for the sacred responsibility I had been given. This dedication to my role and to the well-being of the congregation was a way of honoring the lessons my grandma taught me about the sanctity of the pulpit. Through this journey, I've also come to understand that faith is not just about expecting miracles every day. It's about finding strength and hope in the belief that we are guided, supported, and loved by a higher power. It's about making a positive impact on the lives of those around us, showing compassion, and helping each other grow. As I reflect on my path to and through ministry, I'm filled with gratitude for the lessons learned and the opportunity to make a difference. It's been a reminder that in a world where faith can sometimes feel like a forgotten concept, there's still a place for belief, hope, and the power of a community united by a common purpose. This journey has not just been about preaching. It's been about learning, growing, and witnessing the incredible capacity for good that we all have when we come together in faith and love. Alongside my Deacon Saul books, we transformed the space week after week into a place of worship, assembling chairs, podiums, and sound systems to welcome our growing flock. However, our journey was not without its challenges. A defining moment came when Saul and his mother, who also served as co-pastor, chose to part ways with the ministry under less than amicable circumstances. Their departure, prompted by disagreements over the allocation of church offerings, was a sobering reminder of the complexities of leading a faith-based organization. Despite these trials, my commitment to serving the community, especially the seniors, remained unwavering. The ministry was never about financial gain, but about fulfilling a divine calling to support and enrich the lives of our congregation. In this period of uncertainty, I experienced the profound presence of God's guidance. Following a particularly challenging service during which I had undertaken every role from opening the church to preaching, a congregant approached me with a message of divine intervention. She had seen the effort and dedication poured into the service and shared that God had instructed her grandchildren to assist me. From that day forward, for 5 years, I ministered to a congregation primarily comprised of seniors witnessing transformative healing and faith that mirrored the biblical accounts we cherished. Our services were vibrant and soul-stirring, marked by a community of believers whose faith was as unshakable as it was inspiring. Eventually, my professional endeavors drove me to Illinois, prompting a reluctant departure from the church I had nurtured. Despite the congregation's wishes for me to stay, I trusted that God would provide for His church. In the transition, I continued to minister monthly, flying back to Baltimore until a new shepherd was called to lead Christ's disciples. This period of my life was a testament to the power of faith, the resilience of community, and the unfailing support of God even in the face of adversity and change. This transition marked not just a physical move, but a profound test of faith and leadership. Entrusting Christ's disciples' ministry to another's care was a leap of faith, underscoring my belief that divine providence would guide the community I had grown so close to. This period of my life reinforced a crucial lesson: that leadership in faith is not about wielding control, but about stewarding a community through its trials and triumphs, always with an eye towards a higher calling. In Illinois, my journey continued to unfold in unexpected ways. The distance did nothing to dampen my commitment. Rather, it magnified the importance of trust in God's plan for both my life and the ministry I had left in Baltimore. The monthly pilgrimages back to minister to my congregation were a testament to the indelible bond we shared, a connection that transcended miles and circumstances. During these visits, I was reminded of the vibrant spirit of Christ's disciples' ministry. Each service was a reunion, a celebration of faith, and a testament to the ongoing work of God within the community. The seniors, with their steadfast belief and enthusiasm, continued to be a source of inspiration. Their faith, as fierce and illuminating as ever, fueled not just lively services, but a deep sense of purpose and belonging within the ministry. The day finally came when God's promise was fulfilled, and a new shepherd was called to lead Christ's disciples. This transition was a poignant reminder of the ebb and flow of life and ministry, and the enduring truth that God's work is never dependent on a single individual, but on the collective heart and faith of a community. Reflecting on this chapter of my life, I am filled with gratitude for the lessons learned, the lives touched, and the unwavering support of God through every challenge and victory. The journey of Christ's disciples' ministry, from its humble beginnings in the Primrose to the vibrant community it became, stands as a beacon of hope and faith. It underscores the incredible ways God moves in our lives, guiding us through change, enriching our faith, and reminding us that we are never alone in our service to others and to Him. In 1987, I dove into an exciting opportunity in Baltimore, Maryland, selling cemetery lots at Loudon Park Cemetery. When I first heard about the potential to earn good money in this field during my interview, I was hooked. Out of a group of 7 newbies, we were known as the Phone Crew. And guess what? I emerged as the Rookie of the Month, earning a plaque that I'm super proud of to this day. This job was my first step into what's known as the death care industry. It's all about helping families, whether they're dealing with a loss right now, that's the at-need part, or planning ahead for the future, the pre-need side. My job involved offering services and products related to remembering and honoring loved ones who have passed away. Now about the Phone Crew. We were a mix of fresh faces and veteran agents, those seasoned pros who knew the ins and outs of the business. Unlike new campaigns for veteran agents targeting specific groups, our task didn't come with ready-made leads from mail campaigns. Instead, we were supposed to make cold calls and drum up our own leads. That same month, there was a bit of a hiccup with a mail campaign that didn't pan out, leaving veteran agents with barely any new leads to work with. The veteran agents, who you'd think would have all the tricks up their sleeves, suddenly seemed lost. They struggled to make sales without the leads they were accustomed to. But here's where it gets interesting. Out of all 7 of us, I was the only one who managed to thrive. I quickly figured out that the secret sauce to success wasn't just in cold calls, but in getting referrals. And boy, did those referrals make a world of difference. Our manager wasn't too pleased with how things were going for the others, to say the least. In our weekly meetings, he made it clear he was disappointed in the veterans who couldn't fish for themselves despite his investment in them. That whole experience taught me a crucial lesson about the power of self-initiative and the magic of referrals. It's a lesson that's been a cornerstone of my career in the death care industry, helping me to support families during some of their most challenging times. Over the years, I worked my way up the ladder from a humble beginning in the cemetery sector to prominent positions with some of the industry's largest conglomerates. As the executive sales vice president, my role was akin to captaining a ship through the expansive seas of sales operations, steering our course across multiple vibrant locations. Each place held a wealth of potential, eagerly awaiting the strategic direction that would unlock its full promise. Within this dynamic landscape, I was more than just an overseer. I was the architect of our sales strategy, carefully designing marketing plans that showcased our products in their best light to our customers. Yet the essence of my role extended far beyond strategy and oversight. I had the privilege of mentoring a dynamic team, carefully selecting and fostering the growth of over 100 salespeople and a dozen junior managers. This was not merely a matter of recruitment. It was about building a formidable force of talent, with each individual contributing their unique skills toward a singular ambitious goal: to break sales records across several states and elevate our company to unprecedented success. Through a synergy of innovation, perseverance, and teamwork, we didn't just meet our targets. We soared beyond them, transforming lofty ambitions into tangible achievements. Adding to the richness of this journey were the numerous vacation trips and bonuses, many of which I had the joy of planning. Twice a year, we celebrated our top producers with exclusive getaways, venturing to island resorts, embarking on cruises, and exploring the entertainment hubs of Vegas and Atlantic City. These trips weren't just rewards. They were a testament to our hard work and success, an opportunity to bond, relax, and rejuvenate. Experiencing 2 paid vacations annually was a luxury that truly spoiled me, setting a standard of appreciation and motivation that fueled our drive and commitment. This chapter of my career was not just about professional growth and hitting targets. It was about creating an environment where excellence was recognized and rewarded, where every team member felt valued and inspired. It underscored the power of unity leadership and the profound impact of acknowledging the contributions of each individual. As we navigated the challenges and celebrated the victories, these experiences cemented a culture of achievement and enjoyment, encapsulating the essence of a truly rewarding professional journey. Our achievements became the benchmark, setting new records that were once thought unattainable. Our secret sauce? A relentless pursuit of excellence and a culture of continuous improvement. But there was an element of mystery to our success too. Despite being open about our strategies and methods, our rivals could only look on in envy, puzzled by our ability to consistently clinch the bonuses and win the coveted trips. It seemed like a magic formula, elusive to those not within our circle. This phenomenon reminded me of a profound truth. You can share a vision with others, but unless it's divinely assigned to them, its essence remains intangible. Our success wasn't just about strategies and plans. It was about a shared belief in something greater, a collective commitment to excellence that transcended conventional wisdom. We weren't just a team. We were pioneers exploring uncharted territories of sales and marketing. Our journey was marked by unparalleled achievements, not merely for the accolades, but for the unbreakable spirit that drove us forward. In the end, our legacy wasn't just the records we broke or the trips we won. It was the indelible mark of innovation and perseverance we left on the industry. In my journey through the professional world, one of the hurdles I navigated was the experience of working within the confines of white corporate America. This chapter of my career offered me a window into the stark contrasts that often exist between different communities, especially when it came to the allocation of resources and support. It was an eye-opening experience that allowed me to see the uneven playing field that African American locations often had to compete on. As I delved deeper into this reality, the differences became more apparent. For instance, in locations predominantly serving Caucasian communities with an annual burial rate of around 1,500, the support system was robust. These locations typically boasted a dozen or more administrative staff members, all hands on deck to ensure paperwork was processed smoothly and logistics were managed efficiently. The abundance of resources in these areas ensured operations ran like well-oiled machines, leaving little to chance. Contrastingly, African American locations, despite handling an identical volume of burials, faced a significantly different scenario. Here, the administrative team was often pared down to a mere 5 members, all expected to shoulder the same breadth of responsibilities. This stark disparity not only highlighted the challenges of resource allocation, but also shed light on the resilience and determination of the staff in these locations. They were tasked with achieving the same outcomes, yet with far fewer resources at their disposal. This experience was not just a professional challenge, it was a profound lesson in equity, perseverance, and the strength of community. It underscored the importance of advocating for fairness and support across all spectrums of corporate America. Witnessing these disparities firsthand instilled in me a deeper understanding of the systemic issues at play and a stronger resolve to push for change, ensuring that every location, regardless of the demographic it serves, has the tools and support needed to thrive. This realization sparked a deeper commitment within me to champion the cause for equity and inclusion within the workplace. The disparities I observed weren't just numbers on a spreadsheet. They were reflections of a larger systemic imbalance that required attention and action. It became evident that achieving true equality in the workplace meant more than just equal treatment. It required a thoughtful allocation of resources that recognized and addressed the unique challenges faced by different communities. The journey towards this understanding was challenging, yet enlightening. It taught me the value of looking beyond the surface and questioning the status quo. It was about acknowledging that while the goal might be the same, the path to achieving it can vary significantly depending on the starting point. This understanding fueled my drive to advocate for policies and practices that not only recognize these differences, but actively worked to bridge the gap. In my role, I began to see myself as more than just an executive. I became a catalyst for change, leveraging my position to initiate conversations about diversity, equity, and inclusion. I worked towards creating a more level playing field where every location, irrespective of the community it served, was equipped with the necessary resources to meet their needs effectively. This meant advocating for more staff in under-resourced locations, better training programs, and increased support to ensure that every team had the capacity to deliver the highest level of service. The impact of these efforts was twofold. On one hand, it brought to light the incredible resilience and dedication of the staff working in these challenging conditions. Their ability to do so much with so little was a testament to their commitment to their communities. On the other hand, it underscored the importance of persistent advocacy and action to address systemic inequalities. This chapter of my career, filled with its challenges and lessons, reinforced my belief in the power of leadership to drive meaningful change. It was a poignant reminder that true leadership involves not just managing operations, but also nurturing an environment where equity and inclusion are at the forefront. By addressing these disparities and working towards a more equitable distribution of resources, we could not only improve the efficiency and effectiveness of our operations, but also build stronger, more resilient communities. Under corporate pressure to perform, the African American location was seen as inadequate and insufficient. I was also in the room when they fostered plans to demand families come into the cemetery to complete burial arrangements for their deceased, in an effort to sell to the grieving families at the cemetery, which only exacerbated the already broken and unfair system that prioritized greed over the welfare of African Americans. In the aftermath of profound loss and 2 subsequent marriages that for various reasons didn't culminate in the forever I had hoped for, I found myself on the brink of giving up on the quest for love. It was then, in a moment poised between resignation and the closure of my last dating account, that I crossed paths with Kimberly. From our initial virtual exchanges through phone and text, something extraordinary began to blossom. When Kimberly came into my life, I was at a crossroads, feeling the weight of recent challenges and disillusioned by a business venture that hadn't gone as planned. The venture had promised much, relocating me to oversee several properties in Illinois of all places. Yet the promise of starting facility improvements, a critical aspect of our agreement, faded as soon as we began making headway, leaving me disheartened and questioning my next steps. In response to these setbacks, I chose to step back from the relentless pursuit of success, embracing a period of reflection and leisure. I immersed myself in the simple joys of fishing, playing golf, and billiards, activities that offered solace and a respite from the pressures of business. It was a time of quiet retreat, a moment to breathe and regroup, a metaphorical wandering into the pasture to find peace amid the turmoil. Yet this period of tranquility, while healing, also stirred within me a renewed desire for adventure and achievement. Living the high life had its allure, but now, with Kimberly by my side, I yearned to return to the arena of ambition and success, to saddle up once again and embark on this journey with her. With Kim, I saw not just a partner for the quiet moments, but a co-adventurer ready to face the ups and downs of striving for a dream. Together, we envisioned a future where we could blend the lessons learned from past experiences with our shared aspirations. It was time to leave the pasture behind and step into a new chapter, one marked by mutual support, resilience, and the pursuit of a life filled with purpose, passion, and the richness of shared goals. In Kim, I found not just a partner for life's leisurely pursuits, but a fellow dreamer eager to chase the horizon and build a legacy of success and fulfillment together. Our connection was palpable, growing over several months until our first in-person meeting, which only confirmed our mutual feeling. We had found in each other a lifelong partner. Kimberly brought into my life not just her remarkable self, but an incredible family that warmly welcomed me as one of their own. Our union, enriched by our diverse backgrounds, Kimberly being Caucasian, prompted open and honest discussions about facing racial prejudices head-on. We resolved early on to meet opposition with unity and laughter, a commitment that has carried us through 15 years of marriage, still amused by the bewildered stares our love sometimes draws. Our family is a vibrant tapestry of personalities and achievements. My 3 new sons, each embracing me in their unique way, have filled our lives with joy and pride. Jason, the eldest, a vice president at a major petroleum provider, his wonderful wife Melissa and daughter Jillian. Corey, a professor of music at Austin Peay University, who keeps us connected to the world of grand concerts and festivals as a managing agent for many of the events. And Chris, the youngest, working in logistics and operations for a major petroleum provider, blessed with 2 daughters, Aubrey and Amelia, and his loving wife, Randa. They all have beautiful homes as a testament to hard work and dedication. Our gatherings, holidays, birthdays, or simply any day, are moments of pure joy, especially the cherished time spent with our grandchildren, giving Chris and Randa, Jason and Melissa a well-deserved night out. Meeting Linnea, Kim's sister, was a moment I'll never forget. From the second Kim introduced us, I could see the warmth and love in Linnea's eyes. It was clear she welcomed me with an open heart, and her hug was one of the most genuine I've ever received. It was such a relief to feel accepted and loved right away. Linnea and I quickly became close, especially since I worked mostly from home and had the flexibility to help her out. I would take her to all of her doctor's appointments, help with grocery shopping, and do many other things when she felt up to it. Linnea had diabetes, a tough condition, but one that many people managed to live with. However, as time went on, Linnea's health began to decline. We struggled to keep her sugar levels stable, facing extreme highs and lows that seemed impossible to control. Then one day, after I had run out to the market, I came home to find Linnea on the floor beside her bed. We'd had scares before, and I thought I could help her recover like I had in the past. But this time was different. She was totally unresponsive. I called 911 and started CPR, following the dispatcher's instructions as they told me help was on the way. But despite our efforts, Linnea started to turn purple, and the situation became even more frightening. When the paramedics arrived, they began their resuscitation efforts with such intensity, it looked like they were trying to save her at any cost. They asked about her medications, and I handed them her medical folder. That's when we discovered a note from Linnea stating she did not want to be resuscitated. The paramedics stopped immediately, and the room fell into a deafening silence. Linnea was gone, and the reality of that moment hit me like a ton of bricks. Now I had to make the hardest call of my life and tell Kim that Linnea had passed away. Linnea was one of the kindest, most loving souls you could ever meet. We still talk about her all the time, repeating some of her sayings or reminiscing about memorable moments. I feel blessed that God allowed me to be there for her in her last days, to be someone she could count on. We made the most of the time we had together, cherishing every moment. I had the honor of preaching at Linnea's funeral. She had made me promise that when her time came, I would be the one to do it. She wanted to make sure people didn't get too caught up in sadness, but remembered to have some fun in her memory. Fulfilling that wish was a tribute to her spirit, a way to celebrate her life and the joy she brought to everyone she knew. Linnea's passing was a profound loss, but the love and memories we shared will always be a part of us. Kim and I exchanged vows in the beautiful setting of Antigua, a fitting start to a journey that has taken us to various islands and across the United States. Our shared interests, beliefs, and dislikes lay an unshakable foundation for our marriage. It's astonishing how aligned Kim and I are in every aspect, making every day a testament to the unexpected paths love can take. This love story. My journey with Kimberly is a testament to the idea that life can surprise you with happiness and fulfillment when you least expect it. It's a narrative of love rediscovered, of blending families and cultures, and of building a life filled with shared laughter, understanding, and an unbreakable bond. Our story is a reminder that love in its truest form knows no boundaries and can emerge triumphantly even from the ashes of past sorrows. Our journey together has been more than just a series of happy coincidences. It's been a deliberate choice every day to embrace each other's worlds, to learn, grow, and sometimes navigate the complexities that come with a blended family and an interracial marriage. What might seem like obstacles to some have only served to strengthen our bond and deepen our understanding of each other and the world around us. Kim and I have discovered that our relationship thrives on open dialogue, mutual respect, and a shared sense of humor that turns challenges into opportunities for growth. We've learned to cherish not just the similarities that draw us together, but also the differences that make our union rich and vibrant. Our love is a bridge between backgrounds, a testament to the power of embracing diversity with open hearts and minds. In building our life together, we've not only merged families, but cultures, traditions, and histories. The fabric of our family is woven with the threads of multiple perspectives, teaching us all invaluable lessons about love, acceptance, and the beauty of unity and diversity. Our home is a place where laughter echoes, where stories from different walks of life intertwine to create a unique tapestry of human experience. As we look to the future, Kim and I are excited about the possibilities that lie ahead. We envision a life continued to be filled with adventure, learning, and the joy of watching our family grow and evolve. Our commitment to each other and to nurturing a loving, inclusive environment for our children and grandchildren remains unwavering. This narrative of love, resilience, and unity is not just our story. It's a message of hope to others. It's a reminder that true love doesn't see color or background. It sees the heart. Our journey underscores the belief that when two people come together with open hearts and minds, they can build a life that transcends boundaries and becomes a source of inspiration and strength. As we navigate the years ahead, our love story continues to unfold, a reminder that the best chapters in life are often those written with love, respect, and a willingness to embrace the unexpected. Kim and I, along with our family, stand as living proof that love can indeed conquer all, turning differences into strengths and life's challenges into the very reasons our love grows stronger every day. In my journey through the corporate world of death care in America, I've faced a roller coaster of challenges and downright disheartening experiences. Working with several of the big names in the industry, I found myself in situations where I had to make tough calls, like saying no to after-work outings or visits to places that made me uncomfortable, such as strip clubs. My dedication to professionalism often put me at odds with the corporate culture, leading to situations where either I had to leave or was shown the door. I stood my ground against suggestions that clashed with my values or the well-being of my team, such as refusing to allow underperforming managers from other regions to interfere with my team's training. It was disheartening to witness how some would try to swoop in offering help when their own areas were in disarray. One of the most frustrating experiences was participating in so-called think tanks or brainstorming sessions. It was here that I watched the corporate machine at work, taking my bright ideas and turning them into massive profits. These profits were never shared. No recognition, no credit, and certainly no share of the financial gain. My name was never mentioned, while the higher-ups took all the glory and the rewards. These challenges were just the tip of the iceberg, painting a picture of a career filled with tough decisions, ethical dilemmas, and a constant fight for integrity in an industry that often seemed to lack it. If you're under the impression that racism is a thing of the past in our country, I implore you to reconsider. My own journey has been marked by an encounter that starkly illustrates the persistence of racial prejudice. At a company where I once worked, I was subjected to a deeply offensive racial slur by a high-ranking executive. This incident wasn't merely a personal affront. It unfolded in the presence of my colleagues, whose diverse backgrounds and nationalities didn't prevent them from recognizing the injustice. Their support and willingness to testify on my behalf ultimately helped me secure a settlement, a small victory in the face of such blatant discrimination. However, the fallout from this incident was profound and far-reaching. I remember at one point there was a push for me to transfer to Chicago, a move I was reluctant to make, largely due to the daunting prospect of its frigid winters. A friend in upper management tipped me off about a bet made by Yinis Stith, betting he could coerce me into accepting the transfer. Forewarned, I braced for Stith's tactics, which included stripping me of some of my managerial responsibilities and offering promotions to my subordinates. Despite his generous financial compensation and a lavish attempt to persuade me over 3 days in Chicago, I remained unmoved. Citing the need to consult with my wife, I ultimately declined the position just before my flight home. This decision not only cost Stith his bet, but also sparked a harsh backlash from him, marked by rudeness, a sudden withdrawal of support, and a complete breakdown in communication. Finding myself in a precarious position within the Philadelphia market, I reached out to a contact overseeing the Maryland, D.C., and Delaware region. Given my track record, he was keen on the idea of bringing me on board. This led to a transfer where I joined forces with Trent Tavid in Maryland, stepping into a role that came with a starting commission of $174,000 plus bonuses. In this moment of adversity, it felt as though divine intervention had redirected my path, shielding me from the enemy's wrath and guiding me towards a new chapter filled with promise and opportunity. This experience underscored the resilience needed to navigate professional obstacles, particularly those rooted in prejudice, and the importance of maintaining integrity in the face of adversity. Just when I thought I had navigated through the toughest waters of my professional journey, the tide turned yet again a few years later with a seismic shift in upper management. The company made the controversial decision to bring in an executive, Drew Neatley, known throughout the industry for his unscrupulous dealings. However, what set alarm bells ringing for me wasn't just his reputation for shady practices. It was the unmistakable fact that this man harbored deeply ingrained prejudices, in my opinion, being an active member of the Ku Klux Klan. Our first meeting was far from ordinary. He made no effort to conceal his disdain for me, stating outright that he disliked me and believed I controlled too much territory. This was despite the fact that my region was operating at an impressive 165% above budget, continuing to show remarkable growth. To him, the success of my area posed a problem. It seemed to him like bonuses were simply being handed to me, disregarding the hard work and successful productivity that underpinned those financial rewards. During these times, things were a bit rocky, and not everyone was on my side. Something exciting happened that really turned things around, at least for a while. There was this big contest, and the prize was a trip to New Orleans. I was determined to win, so I filled our office with the lively sounds of Cajun music to get everyone in the spirit. It was like a little piece of New Orleans right there with us, and the music played non-stop until the qualifiers were announced. Guess what? Our team outdid itself. We ended up taking more counselors to New Orleans than any other location had managed to do. We explored every corner of that vibrant city, and it was an incredible experience. It was especially meaningful because many of us were African Americans, and historically we wouldn't have been there in such large numbers. It felt like we were making a bit of history ourselves. As a reward for all our hard work, I was given a huge honor. They put me up on a float and paraded me down Bourbon Street dressed in an African king costume. It was an amazing tribute and a moment I'll never forget. It felt like all our efforts had truly paid off, and I was proud of what we had achieved together. But just when I thought things couldn't get any better, there was another twist. In the past, this level of performance would have earned thousands of dollars in rewards. But this year, under the new management of Drew Neatley, I was given $500. Talk about a letdown. It was a tough pill to swallow, especially after such a high point. But I decided to suck it up and move forward. Life's full of ups and downs, and this was just another lesson along the way. Despite the disappointment, the memories of New Orleans and the recognition we received were things that money couldn't diminish. Despite the disappointment with the reward, the experience in New Orleans and the journey to get there taught me a lot about resilience, teamwork, and celebrating our achievements no matter how they're recognized. The parade down Bourbon Street with the vibrant beats of Cajun music still ringing in my ears was a moment of pure joy and unity. It was a vivid reminder that the journey and the memories we create along the way can be just as rewarding as any prize. This whole adventure also showed me the importance of recognizing and celebrating diversity. Our presence in New Orleans, a group of African Americans in record numbers, wasn't just a win for us. It was a statement. It was about breaking barriers and making our mark in places where we might not have been expected to shine. Wearing that African king costume wasn't just about the accolades for hard work. It symbolized pride, heritage, and the strength of our community. The experience under Drew Neatley's management, though a bit of a downer in terms of the financial reward, didn't take away from the sense of accomplishment and the bonds we formed. It was a clear example that leadership and recognition styles can greatly impact morale. Yet it also reinforced my belief in sucking it up and pushing forward no matter the obstacles or disappointments that come our way. In the end, the trip to New Orleans and everything leading up to it was a chapter in my life filled with lessons, laughter, and a deeper understanding of myself and my colleagues. It was a testament to what we can achieve when we work together, driven by a common goal and supported by a sense of community and belonging. And while the reward may not have been what I expected, the experiences, the connections made, and the stories we could tell were priceless. They were reminders that sometimes the real prize is the journey itself and the people we share it with. Drew Neatley's persistence in undermining my achievements took a more sinister turn as he began to fabricate charges against me. He leveraged information obtained from counselors whom I had previously demoted in my strategic efforts to enhance our operations. These unfounded accusations were a stark reminder of the challenges that lay ahead in dealing with an individual whose motivations were rooted in prejudice rather than the company's success. My confrontations with racial discrimination were not only deeply unsettling, but also prompted me to take decisive legal action. This incident marked not only the milestone of purchasing my first boat, but also the beginning of my litigation efforts against corporate injustices. Over the years, I found myself compelled to litigate twice, advocating for equity and integrity within the workplace. In response to my legal actions, the companies undertook drastic measures to undermine my position. In what I perceived as a retaliatory maneuver, they deployed an individual, Don Chenette, with the explicit objective of destabilizing my professional standing. This was particularly evident when a promotion became available, a position for which I was indisputably the most qualified candidate. Given the recent legal confrontations, it seemed inconceivable that the company would risk further retaliation by denying me the promotion, so I was promoted. Nonetheless, the individual Don Chenette assigned to my region began to actively dismantle the success we had achieved. His tactics were manifold, usurping bonuses, thwarting successful promotions, and generally aiming to diminish the region's accomplishments. Despite these adversities, this period of turmoil unexpectedly paved the way for a significant turning point in my career. The very efforts to displace me from my position ultimately freed me to pursue my own ventures. In the aftermath of these challenges, I founded my enterprise, which continues to thrive to this day. This journey, fraught with obstacles, underscored the importance of resilience, integrity, and the pursuit of justice, principles that remain at the core of my professional ethos. The experience not only taught me invaluable lessons about navigating corporate dynamics, but also about the profound strength that can emerge from adversity. Yet in every instance where I've encountered such grave injustices, I've felt a guiding hand lifting me higher, turning each obstacle into a stepping stone. My faith has taught me resilience and provided me with strength in moments of despair. I'm not one to dwell on grievances or lament over the conditions of someone else's workplace. If a situation doesn't serve me, I believe in taking the initiative to move on to seek better opportunities. This experience, though fraught with challenges, has been yet another testament to this belief, reinforcing my resolve to rise above and find my path, fueled by a humble passion and a resolve that injustice will not define my journey. Talking about the death care industry is pretty interesting because it's shaped by some really big companies. And guess what? I've had the chance to work with most of them. But here's the thing. Sometimes things didn't work out, and I either ended up leaving on my own or they showed me the door. I'm the type of person who doesn't like to complain, especially at someone else's workplace. It just doesn't feel right to me. So whenever I felt like things weren't going well or it just wasn't the right fit anymore, I could tell it was time to move on. It's like having an inner alarm that goes off, letting me know when it's time to pack up and find a new adventure. Each time I left, it wasn't with hard feelings, but with the understanding that sometimes change is necessary. It's all part of the journey, learning from each experience and taking those lessons with me to the next opportunity. This journey through the death care industry, with its ups and downs, taught me a lot about resilience and the importance of finding where I fit best. Every time I decided to move on, it wasn't just about leaving a job. It was about pursuing a place where I could truly make a difference, where my ideas and contributions would be valued. Even though saying goodbye was never easy, each departure was a step towards discovering new opportunities and challenges. It was like being on a quest to find the perfect match for my skills and passions. And with each new beginning, I carried with me the lessons learned from the past, ready to apply them and grow even more. One of the biggest lessons I learned was the value of listening to my own instincts. When something felt off, or when I realized my values weren't aligning with those of the company, I knew it was crucial to pay attention to those feelings. It's important to be in an environment where you feel you can thrive, not just survive. Reflecting on these experiences, I see them not as setbacks, but as important chapters in my story. They've shaped me into who I am today, someone who's not afraid to seek out new horizons and who understands the importance of being true to oneself. It's been a journey of self-discovery, learning to trust my journey even when it meant stepping into the unknown. So to anyone finding themselves in a similar situation, remember that it's okay to move on when you need to. It's all part of growing and finding your path. Each experience, each job, and each goodbye adds to your story, making it richer and more interesting. And who knows? The next opportunity might just be the one that fits you perfectly. I believe that everything we go through prepares us for our future. However, I could no longer sit idly by and watch the system perpetuate racism and injustice. This ultimately led me to start my own business where I could make a positive change and provide equal and fair services to all communities regardless of race or ethnicity. After witnessing the inequities in the death care industry, I decided to take action and start my own business 20 years ago selling death care products and services. With a productive pre-need insurance agency established in Baltimore and Washington, D.C., I was able to provide fair and equal services to all communities regardless of race or ethnicity. Starting my own business was a big step for me, but it also meant I had to tighten my belt financially. What I didn't expect was how this change would throw me into a tough situation with child support court over arrears. I thought I could explain my situation, show them that my income wasn't what it used to be and we could adjust things accordingly. But instead, they called it voluntary impoverishment and gave me a stark choice: pay up or face jail time. It was a shock when they actually decided to lock me up. I had traveled from Baltimore to Philadelphia for the court date, leaving my car in a parking garage, not realizing I wouldn't be coming back for it anytime soon. No one knew what had happened to me until much later that day, and since it was a Friday, I was stuck. Inside waiting to be processed, I saw how some guys knew the system well enough to make themselves a bit more comfortable for the night while the rest of us just had to sit up and wait. I ended up spending 4 days in jail before I could get out on bail. Those days opened my eyes to a world I never knew existed. The guards were puzzled by my presence. They couldn't understand how someone with my clean record ended up there. I was grateful they were relatively lenient with me, especially when it came to the strip searches for contraband, which was a humiliating experience. The smell of marijuana was in the air, and some of the tougher inmates were pretty intimidating. But luck was on my side. Some of the older inmates who had a lot of respect inside were looking for someone to join their game of double-deck pinochle. Thanks to my Doris and Zach, I knew how to play. Joining that game probably saved me from getting involved in any violence. It was a small piece of normalcy in an otherwise scary situation. This experience was a wake-up call for me. I got my case transferred to Maryland and hired an attorney who helped get my child support payments adjusted to something more manageable. It was a hard lesson, but it taught me the importance of being prepared and protecting myself legally. I never want to go through something like that again, and I'm doing everything I can to make sure I won't have to. This ordeal wasn't just a wake-up call. It was a life-changing event that reshaped how I view the justice system and the importance of legal representation. Being locked up even for just a few days showed me a side of life I had never seen before. It was a harsh reality check, one that made me realize how quickly things can go wrong and how important it is to have someone on your side who knows how to navigate the legal system. The experience also taught me a lot about resilience and the human spirit. Inside, I met people from all walks of life, each with their own story. Some were there for minor offenses, others for reasons they couldn't control, like me. It was eye-opening to see how quickly you can be judged and labeled based on a single aspect of your life. But it was also inspiring to see how people adapted, finding ways to cope and even help each other out in such a tough environment. One of the most significant lessons I learned was the value of community and support. My family and friends were my rock during this time. Knowing they were out there working to get me out and support me gave me strength. It was a reminder of how crucial it is to have a support system, people who will stand by you through the good times and the bad. After getting out and adjusting my child support payments, I made a promise to myself to never take my freedom for granted again. I became more involved in my community, sharing my story when appropriate and offering support to those who might be facing similar challenges. I wanted to give back to help others avoid the pitfalls that had caught me off guard. This chapter of my life, as difficult as it was, taught me about gratitude, resilience, and the power of second chances. It showed me that with the right help and a strong community, it's possible to overcome even the most daunting obstacles. And it reinforced my belief in the importance of understanding our legal rights and responsibilities so we can protect ourselves and our loved ones from unforeseen challenges. Unfortunately, over time, I have seen a decline in other Black-owned businesses thriving, with only a few remaining in comparison. The Black funeral home, barbershop, and beauty salons are among the last symbols of Black capitalism in America. We must find a way to come together in solidarity and work towards a common goal, something we were not taught to do and were trained well not to do. The conglomerates are seeping into our communities, seeking to devour us one funeral at a time through combination funeral home and cemetery locations. They work effectively together, picking off our families when they go to the cemetery and draining our community of valuable resources. When our loved ones are brought into lavish funeral homes with impressive amenities such as fish tanks in the walls, our people are often extremely impressed. If the conglomerates can gain their business, they can potentially start a new direction for the entire family, taking capital away from our community. I feel we must come together as a community and support each other in building and maintaining our own businesses, providing equitable services to all. It is up to us to take back control of our community and ensure that we are not devoured by outside forces seeking to take advantage of us. The racial wealth gap in America is a systemic issue that is deeply rooted in history and continues to impact Black communities today. Even in the wake of the pandemic and protests for racial and social justice, Black businesses continue to remain fragile and are disproportionately impacted by economic downturns. One contributing factor to the racial wealth gap is the inconsistency of the dollar within the Black community. According to studies conducted by organizations such as the NAACP, the average lifespan of the dollar is much shorter in Black communities compared to other ethnic groups. While the national buying power of African Americans is significant at more than $1.4 trillion, this does not necessarily translate to wealth within the community, as the money is often spent elsewhere. The racial wealth gap is a complex issue that requires significant changes in economic policy and societal attitudes towards race and equity. We must work towards creating opportunities for Black-owned businesses to thrive and support the growth of wealth within Black communities. By addressing this issue, we can take a step towards achieving greater economic and social justice for all. As a passionate advocate for social justice and equality, I strongly believe that while racism unfortunately persists, the vast majority of people want to live prosperous lives and get along with one another. Rather than simply complaining about the injustices in our society, I have chosen to take action by focusing my time and energy on a cause that can make a significant difference. Today, my days are filled with important meetings that would surprise many. I spend most of my time in conferences with presidents and owners of companies that sell funeral products and services. But that's not all. I also meet with owners of small to mid-sized funeral homes, places where making a real difference in people's lives is not just a possibility, but a reality. These discussions are more than just business talks. They're opportunities to connect, share ideas, and work together to improve the way we support families during some of their toughest times. It's about finding new ways to offer comfort, respect, and dignity in moments of loss. Whether it's through providing better products or offering more personalized services, every conversation has the potential to lead to meaningful changes. In these meetings, we brainstorm, challenge each other, and come up with innovative solutions that can make a significant impact. It's inspiring to see how dedicated these leaders are to making a positive difference in the funeral industry. Together, we're not just running businesses. We're helping to ease people's burdens during their moments of grief. Being a part of these discussions is incredibly rewarding. It reminds me that even in an industry that deals with the end of life, there's a tremendous amount of care, compassion, and drive to serve families in the best way possible. Every day I'm grateful for the chance to contribute to making a difference where it truly counts. I have collaborated with independent funeral homes across the nation to work with companies that provide funeral products and goods. We offer everything from an insurance agency selling pre-need policies to a provider of funeral products and services through the Commander Initiative, and we are committed to improving the lives and experiences of families during one of the most difficult times they will ever face. To further our mission of fostering a more equitable and affordable landscape in the funeral industry, I founded the Commander Initiative. This initiative is designed as a cooperative purchasing group for funeral products and services with a keen focus on leveling the playing field for small independent funeral homes. These homes often find themselves at a competitive disadvantage against larger corporate entities struggling to secure the products and services necessary for their operations at reasonable costs. Today, the Commander Initiative proudly counts over 300 independent funeral homes among its members. These members have already begun to reap the benefits of reduced costs for the essential goods and services needed to run their establishments effectively. With the cooperative's foundation firmly in place, we are on the brink of experiencing exponential growth in the coming years. This growth is not just in numbers, but in the collective impact we can have on making funeral services more accessible and less financially burdensome for families during their times of need. Our efforts have not gone unnoticed. We've garnered significant support from major industry giants including C&J Financial Mortuary Marketing SoCal Approach, and Elco Mutual Life and Annuity, and many others. These partnerships have been instrumental, providing overwhelming support not only to the Commander Initiative itself, but also assisting in navigating the day-to-day challenges we face in this volatile funeral marketplace. Their backing reinforces the validity and potential of our mission, enabling us to innovate, expand, and continue to serve as a beacon of change and support for independent funeral homes nationwide. Through the Commander Initiative, we're building a community that stands together united in our commitment to transform the funeral industry into a space characterized by fairness, affordability, and compassion. This support from industry leaders has catalyzed a wave of positive change across our network, propelling the Commander Initiative into a pivotal role within the funeral industry. As we build on this momentum, our vision extends beyond just financial savings for our members. We are setting the stage for a broader transformation, one that encompasses enhanced service quality innovation in funeral products and services, and a stronger, more united front against the challenges small funeral homes face in today's market. The Commander Initiative is not just a cooperative, it's a movement. It embodies a collective resolve to advocate for the needs and rights of independent funeral homes and the communities they serve. By pooling our resources and expertise, we're not only leveling the playing field but also raising the bar for what families can expect during their most vulnerable times. Our members, armed with better resources and support, are empowered to focus more on what they do best, providing compassionate, dignified care to families in mourning. Looking ahead, the Commander Initiative is poised for significant expansion. Our plans include the introduction of innovative programs and services designed to further reduce costs, improve operational efficiency, and enhance the overall quality of funeral services. With the backing of our industry partners, we are exploring new technologies and practices that promise to redefine the funeral service landscape, making it more responsive to the needs of today's families. As we chart our course for the future, the success of the Commander Initiative serves as a testament to what can be achieved when we come together for a common purpose. It is a reminder that in the face of adversity, cooperation and shared vision can drive monumental change. For the independent funeral homes that form the backbone of our initiative, and the families they serve, the future looks brighter than ever. Together, we are not just navigating the challenges of the funeral marketplace. We are reshaping it, ensuring that dignity, affordability, and quality care are within reach for all. As someone who has experienced the highs and lows of life, I understand that where one comes from doesn't necessarily determine their destination. I've had moments of great success and the financial security that comes with it, but I've also faced numerous challenges along the way. Growing up in difficult circumstances has given me a deep appreciation for the power of positivity, faith, and perseverance. While I wouldn't wish my journey on anyone, I am proud to be working alongside our dedicated vendor partners and member funeral homes to make a difference in our industry. Together, we are striving to create a brighter future and build a more equitable and just society. Through my work with the funeral industry and the Commander Initiative, I have found a way to channel my experiences and expertise into creating positive change. Our cooperative purchasing group allows independent funeral homes to band together and access affordable funeral products and services, helping them compete with larger corporate conglomerates. By working together, we can empower local businesses, provide better care for families, and promote economic stability within our communities. Looking towards the future with optimism is a stance we've adopted, grounded firmly in the lessons and triumphs of our past. This historical perspective strengthens our belief that we are on an upward trajectory towards greater efficiency and proficiency in what we do. However, it's important to acknowledge the current challenges faced by small to mid-sized funeral homes within the industry. The landscape is fraught with uncertainty, and history has shown us that crises often emerge unexpectedly, leaving many to lament in hindsight that they didn't see it coming. Our mission with the Commander Initiative is to illuminate the path ahead, ensuring that the potential pitfalls and shifts in the industry don't catch our members off guard. The stakes are incredibly high. The success of a funeral business is not just about the bottom line. It's about the invaluable service it provides to the community, the livelihood of its employees, and the legacy of the families it serves. The closure of a single funeral home reverberates through the entire fabric of the community, leaving a void that is difficult to fill. That's why our efforts are geared towards prevention, preparedness, and support. We are determined to equip funeral directors and their businesses with the tools, knowledge, and resources needed to navigate the changing tides of the industry. Our goal is to ensure that these vital community pillars not only survive but thrive in the face of adversity. We want every funeral director out there to know that they are not alone. The Commander Initiative stands ready as a partner and ally dedicated to safeguarding the future of the funeral industry for small to mid-sized homes. By joining forces, sharing insights, and pooling resources, we can forge a more resilient and prosperous future for all involved. Our commitment is unwavering, to make a tangible difference, to be a beacon of support, and to ensure that every funeral home under our wing has the vision and capability to face what lies ahead with confidence and strength. I encourage everyone to embrace their journey, no matter how difficult it may seem. It is important to recognize that our experiences shape us and prepare us for the future. We must use these experiences to empower ourselves and others and to create positive change in our communities. As for me, I am grateful for the opportunities and challenges that have brought me to where I am today. I am proud to be a part of the funeral industry and to have the privilege of serving families during their time of need. Through the Commander Initiative, I am committed to working with independent funeral homes across the nation to provide affordable funeral products and services for all. In closing, I urge you to never give up on your dreams and to always keep pushing forward. With faith, perseverance, and hard work, we can overcome any obstacle and achieve our goals. Thank you for taking the time to learn about my journey and the work that I am doing. I understand that being in a systemically racial work environment can be incredibly challenging and demotivating. It can be disheartening to witness the prejudices and biases that exist within your workplace. It takes a lot of strength and courage to navigate such an environment while maintaining a professional posture. It's understandable that you might feel the need to hold back from joking around or engaging in conversations that could potentially lead to offensive remarks. It's essential to maintain your dignity and professionalism in such situations. However, it's also important to recognize that this is not a burden you should have to bear alone. As an executive, you have the power to affect change in your workplace. It starts with acknowledging the prejudices that exist and taking proactive steps to address them. You can begin by speaking up against racist or discriminatory behavior, even if it means standing up to your colleagues or superiors. You can also champion diversity and inclusion initiatives within your organization and advocate for the hiring and promotion of people of color. It's understandable to feel overwhelmed and depressed by the challenges you face as an executive in a racially charged environment. However, I urge you to find hope in the possibility of change. The fact that you are speaking out and seeking to make a difference is a powerful first step. Remember to speak positively to yourself and encourage yourself and others. Self-talk can be incredibly powerful, so make a conscious effort to affirm your own worth and potential. It's also important to support and uplift your colleagues who may be experiencing similar challenges. Let this be the point where you make a change regarding the way you think. By adopting an open and inclusive mindset, you can begin to make a positive impact on the culture and environment within your workplace. And who knows, you may inspire others to do the same. As I bring the pages of this book to a close, I am filled with immense gratitude and a deep sense of reflection. The journey to write these words was not embarked upon lightly, but rather it was a path I was encouraged to take by my loving wife and a circle of dear friends. They saw the value in sharing a story that pierces through the veil of life's seemingly perfect facade, revealing the truth that life is indeed a tapestry woven with challenges and trials. This narrative was born out of a desire to illuminate the reality that life, contrary to what many may believe, is not a bed of roses. Instead, it is a journey marked by obstacles that require us to confront them with courage, faith, and resilience. It's a testament to the human spirit's unyielding strength and our ability to rise time and again, buoyed by the belief that we are never alone in our struggles. Throughout these pages, I've aimed to convey a message of hope and endurance inspired by the divine presence that resides within each of us. The conviction that God is still alive and active, working within us and through us, has been a guiding light in my life. It is this belief that has empowered me to face each day with optimism and determination, even when the path ahead seemed insurmountable. Writing this book has been a journey of introspection, learning, and profound growth. It has allowed me to reflect on the beauty of our shared human experience, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. My hope is that by sharing my story, readers will find solace, inspiration, and the strength to navigate their own lives with faith and resilience. In closing, I extend my deepest thanks to you, the reader, for joining me on this journey. May you find within these pages a source of strength, a reminder of your inner resilience, and the comforting truth that you are never alone. Life's challenges are but stepping stones on the path to growth and discovery, and with faith and perseverance, there is nothing we cannot overcome. In closing, I offer a message of hope and steadfastness. My journey has taught me to see myself not as the world sees me, but through my own eyes. A vision of a king who embraced his role with the full weight of its responsibilities. I've lived by principles of integrity, kindness, and unconditional love, never wavering from my chosen path. This journey underscores the belief that leadership is about serving others and holding true to one's course despite external challenges. My experiences, from personal growth to initiating the Commander Initiative, highlight the importance of resilience, community, and leading with a generous heart. It is my hope that sharing this story encourages others to recognize their own potential for impact and leadership. For those interested in connecting or learning more about the Commander Initiative and Cooper Professionals LLC, I welcome your inquiries and interest in joining our mission to make a meaningful difference. Author, Eddie L. Pitt, President CEO, Cooper Professionals, LLC. Founder, the Commander Initiative Contact. Information. Websites: www.thecommandersinitiative.com, www.cooperprofessionalfunerals.com, www.cooperprofessionals.com.
It's the first day of your